All right, what's up? Mid Lindsay doing green room checks. We are still good to go. We're still gonna go live.
Check.
Check.
I had like a melody to it.
What's up? Happy Monday, Lindsay. Lindsay is how you doing?
Don't even say it. Don't even say it. I know where you're going with this. I'm great.
Rolling it hot, like
just
hot.
coming in hot with it. Yes. What's up, everybody? Excited for our webinar today. It has been 3 months, or technically 4 months since we went through this content, which has actually been improved and built on since then. We've went through an entire quarterly show since the last time we've done this content. So
I think we did. I think we did 2 quarterly shows.
Was this before the Phoenix event?
I think it was right
This
before
might have been the week of Phoenix, actually.
I think maybe you're right. I think regardless, this is great content. You guys are going to love this one. One of the things that we've done, and this is also side note. I do a lot of side notes when I'm talking because I have like these brain blasts that
Just
come
call
up.
it ADHD. It's fine.
Yeah, thank you for that. Side note for you guys that are doing webinars. First of all, here at 7-Figure MSP, we do a minimum of 2 webinars every single month. So we do first Monday and third Monday is usually what we do. So today is what? Let me find my mouse here. Today is, where's my calendar?
Third
my
Monday.
Not sure. Today's third Monday. So we do first Monday, third Monday. And then we add live events. We do road shows. We got a bunch of events that are in here. So we do roughly 6 to 8 events per quarter, every single quarter. And, sometimes actually even as many as 10 or 12, depending on how much stuff's going on. And we leave a lot of the content very similar, but then we put spins on it. So we're, in fact, we were talking in our group conversation this morning. We have a whole content conversation group is what it's called in Teams. We were kind of talking about how, hey, let's maybe change up the title, even though the stuff. So you got to kind of play with this stuff. And it's really good things to get in habits of doing internally. I know we have a lot of people that are going to be on with us live today. You also notice that Lindsay and I kind of roll in here, just like have fun. Like people are okay with you being transparent. I'm going to lower my desk a little bit here too. It's a little high. They're okay with you being transparent. They're okay with you being you. You don't have to be this rigid robot that only does the right one. Let's have some fun and let's be real people. I got my Celsius just in case I get tapped out today. So Lindsay's got that is probably straight bourbon or something in there. Actually, you're on not.
I prefer Bailey's in my coffee.
Wow, but you're not drinking at all.
I'm not drinking on the job.
Yeah. Well, Lindsay used to drink on the job. We go to our road shows and we have a couple, like, I'm kind of big on having when we have our big live event. Like we just came out of Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago. I'm literally drinking a beer on the stage once in a while. Like, I don't care. Like, we can do casual stuff. But my point being, not the drinking on the job thing, but you're actually like totally dry right now. Right?
I'm actually, so my counter says I'm 39 days and 12 hours alcohol free.
That's pretty good.
So I shared that in one of our group calls the other day. They're like, but why? Is this forever? Are you forever going to not drink? And it was funny. It's just like, why not? Like just kind of seeing what happens, right?
Probably not for forever, but we've been working on something that I added to the team over the last few months here is I have my own personal trainer and I've been kind of working with my trainer to help her build her remote side of her business. So I've added some stuff to our management team. We're kind of testing this out right now and seeing how they do working with the trainer virtually. Same trainer. So I've been really working on my weight loss journey / fitness journey. I had some health issues not that long, but not like super health issues, but I'm 47 years old. Had some high blood pressure stuff kind of like hit me about 6 months ago. Probably 6 months ago, 8 months ago, about 6. Yeah, probably that. And I've been really for like almost 2 years, really working on my fitness journey, doing a lot of different things. Those of you that have seen me in person know that I am a lot thinner than I was. I'm more lean now than I am thin because I'm still pretty big, actually. Like when I say big, I mean freaking ripped. That's what I mean. Yeah, whatever. I'm not looking at you, but I saw that. As my peripherals, I saw that. But all of this stuff comes into it. And I'm not a heavy drinker, but it's also a really good thing to do once in a while. Like I think I did, was it December? I think it did December. No, it wasn't December. It was my birthday.
Okay. You were dry at whenever we were in New Jersey. I think it was like September or August of last year, I think.
Yeah.
There was
No,
like a 30-day
I think it was September. I did like 45 days totally dry.
Yeah.
And it's just like sometimes you want to do it, sometimes it makes you feel good, and it's okay.
Mhm.
So I love it that you're doing it.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Even though that's a full cup of bourbon right now. That's okay. All right.
Doesn't count.
Gonna get rolling. We have so Don just asked, let's hit this.
Hi, Don.
Don asked, why do you do webinars on Mondays? Because the rest of our week's busy.
Yeah,
That's
actually, I have no client calls on Monday. This is the best day for me to do webinars.
Yeah, it's kind of a really good day for me to do it on Mondays as well. There's no perfect answer. Usually, if you're going to, now keep in mind, we are a 100% virtual company. So we're virtual. Our clients are virtual. All of our content is virtual. Like I only see my team when we go to a live event. Like we just don't see it. Like we do this kind of stuff. We're on Teams every day. We mandate video across the company. So we just pick Mondays. When I did my in-person.
Whenever I get asked this, Don, and I think the reason why you're asking this is because you're curious of when you should schedule your webinar, because I've worked with you and I kind of know. My feedback on this, Don, is because anyone, you can ask 10 different sales or marketing people and they're going to give you 10 different answers with most things in business, right? But my advice is to choose the day for your webinar or for your events like this, to choose the day that you're the most energetically available. So for example, on Tuesdays, I am slammed from like 9 in the morning until 5:30 in the afternoon with clients.
And you are actually, we talk occasionally on afternoons on Tuesdays, and she's like, no, brain's not working. I'm spent. Let's talk tomorrow.
Yeah. So you have to choose the day that you're the most available. So I wouldn't put your webinar on a day where you have, risk assessments to present, or you have team meetings all day, or you just know that you're not present for it. Choose a day that you're available to go in and talk for 90 minutes and you're going to be there and you're going to be present.
Yeah. So. One other thing that I would add, and this is kind of where I was going before I got ADD'd out of my own brain, is we are a virtual company. So it kind of doesn't matter. The work week is kind of when it matters, and my clients are all virtual. So it kind of doesn't matter that much. But when I was an in-person company, we definitely purposely chose Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Mondays were days when people are coming back to work. And if they're going to see you physically, maybe not the best day. And Fridays, they're kind of always checked out. I still don't like doing webinars on Fridays because people are just checked out. So, but we've just added Monday to the mix because it's one other day and kind of gives people a break to their Mondays. So that's kind of it. So, And Don, like you said, I was just wondering if it's like the best day to do webinars. So I think see what works. And like Lindsay said, whatever works for you. We also have our cybersecurity briefings that we recommend that Lindsay does inside of Marketing Machine, Don. I would definitely take a look at that. We talked about that at the live event. Don was watching virtually for the live event. We know that as well because he's in our 0 to 10K program. So, okay, I'm going to get rolling on today's content. We got a little bit of Chris, which is going to be a little bit of rehash. We got a lot of new names today that are going to be on with us. So you guys that have seen me present, rehash maybe a little bit of it, especially if you've seen me live, if you've seen me in our lunchroom that we do at our live events. And I would highly encourage coming to our live event. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes here, but let me just get rolling and we'll get going. And then if you have any questions, please participate. Lindsay and I are monitoring the chat just like we did with Don here. We can see our other friend. That's Don Howard from Chicago. What's up, my buddy? It's good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a minute. We got Thomas from Liechtenstein. That's cool to see. Got some other people here with us.
If anyone needs to bring in their marketing team or their sales team or anyone in your company that assists or leads revenue generation, I would bring them into this webinar. So just send them an invitation to it. I think you can actually share the StreamYard link with them as well. Because we're going to go over, and we're going to talk about it here in a minute, but we're going to be talking about things that you and your team can be doing. So it's really important that you share this with the people in your company that help move this.
I'd say the first 15 minutes with me is fine for you, and then bring them in to watch Lindsay. And that's really key because she's going to talk about adding leads and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm going to get rolling on my presentation for today. And Lindsay, if you want to monitor the chat, some other stuff, feel free. And then I got that as well. So a couple quick things. First of all, guys, my promise to you, Lindsay and I are going to show you today how to add new MSP leads to your MSP sales pipeline every single month. Now, there's a couple keys with this. You're not going to have to do complicated funnels, not going to have to spend huge money on direct mail campaigns or tons of money on Facebook or Google ads, all these different things. We're going to show you real skills that you can actually implement now. Now, I will tell you, actually, I'm going to come off of a really quick share on this and tell you guys this. Me to you. My huge differentiator is execution. Lindsay, you saw me talking to David from our team today about some white label stuff. And I'm like, he's like, man, I got all these questions, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just go, dude. Like, stop. Like, you're over. And we had it done in 20 minutes. I'm like, stop worrying about it. You've been screwing around for 3 weeks since I asked you this. Why do you? He's like, well, blah, 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 blah. Like every literally head trash situation in the book. And we sat down and we hammered it out in literally 15 minutes today. And it was just, he had so much like paralysis by analysis. It just crushed him. And it's a great example. So we're going to show you how to use these real skills, this real strategy to actually implement into your MSP. This also works for pretty much any other business, but the biggest factor in this is just effing go. Like, you got to get stuff done. The only thing better than perfect, guys, I say this all the time, but the only thing better than perfect is done. I promise you that. And what's even crazier, and this is really going to bake your noodle, is you more than likely are going to end up further ahead if you just execute than if you sit around and think about it for like months and months and months and weeks and years and years. Like, it's crazy how much that stuff really, really impacts your life and how fast you can go. Got a couple prizes for you today. If you guys stay with me till the end. We're going to be giving away 2 prizes. One winner is going to get a $100 Tremendous gift card. Now, it says Amazon. We use a program called tremendous.com, which is pretty cool. You can you're going to get a link worth $100. Whatever your currency is, works. You can choose Amazon, Starbucks, cash, debit card, like whatever you want. You can choose, and it works like a champ. It's pretty awesome. So we're going to have one winner that's going to be given away kind of during this process here. Going to get a $100 gift card. Second one's going to get a $75 gift card that we're going to give out at near the end, but you guys have to stay with us. Okay. And then everyone on the webcast is going to have the opportunity to get their own $50 gift card, but you have to stay to the end to see how to do that. So please pay attention. Please work with us. Speaking of paying attention, no tickets. Like, I know this is really hard for MSP guys. Like, no tickets, no client calls, no distractions. I know we got this thing that's in our grill all the time, right? We got all these phones and Teams, and just put it on D&D for a little while and pay attention. It's not that hard. Like, it's really not that hard. I want you to do that. If you're serious about changing your business, serious about changing your life. We have hundreds of MSPs in our coaching program. We have another 150 in our 0 to 10K program. That's for guys that are 10K and below. We have a massive group in our big Facebook groups. Just please, I know you get distracted. We have so many people that are involved in our communities. Just please pay attention. Give us some time. This stuff actually works, guys. I promise you this. You heard me mention earlier about coming to see us live. We got a couple of live events coming up here. We just came out of Indianapolis about 2 weeks ago. We had our big quarterly live. It was absolutely insane. So stoked about that. We are going to be in Ottawa, Ontario. Lindsay and I will be there presenting live. So you can actually see us and meet us and hang out with us if you're near Canada or just are bored and want to fly. Hey, we're flying into Montreal and hanging out for an afternoon and then driving over to Ottawa. So this is all stuff you can do. You can do the same stuff if you want to. We have June 20th, Oklahoma City. We then have our Q3 event in Denver, Colorado. Side note, I'm going to talk about in a minute. We have some amazing things coming for Denver. August 29th is going to be up in my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if you're near that, we'd love to see you guys. Minneapolis, Minnesota, September 19th. Calgary, Alberta, back up to Canadian land. We're doing maple syrup shots up there. That's all we're doing is drinking maple syrup. So Lindsay, sorry about your diet. There's no beer. There's no water. It's maple syrup only. That's all we're having, guys. That's it. You can take a look at this at 7figuremspevents.com. You can hit the QR code that's on the screen. Also, we are giving away some tickets for our Mile High. I almost said the Mile High Club. I don't think you want to be a part of that.
There you go.
That's not good. That's not what I meant, but it's like, that doesn't sound.
That's for the VIP section.
Oh God, Jesus. What is wrong with me? My poor mother. I just saw my mom last week and she's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, yeah. My staff asks me that every single day. They're like, what's wrong with you? So we got August 13th, 14th, 15th, Denver, Colorado. Absolutely insane event. I'm going to give you guys some information that's not been released yet. So first of all, this one's been released a little bit. Our keynote speaker on day 2, this is the Wednesday, is Mr. Penn Gillette from Penn & Teller. Penn's going to be there. We got 2 or 3 other major speakers that we're just about to book on that. But then we're also doing our Wednesday night event is at Red Rocks Amphitheater. We are going to go as a group to a concert. Lindsay, you don't even know this yet. This is all real.
Is this official?
This is official.
Okay, first of all, I would just like to take the low-key credit for like sliding this idea in there, number one, but I'm going to give the big props to Maria.
This is Chris stuff, pure and simple. Don't even try and take my thunder.
Okay, tell me who's playing. Tell me who's playing that night.
We are going to see the Revivalists. This will be a group event. We are doing buses to Red Rocks, a whole deal. This is going to be badass, guys. I promise you, like, I like to have good events. We did the Dallara IndyCar Factory 2 weeks ago in Indianapolis. That was amazing. We had a casino night. We had DJs. Like, people are walking in there like, this is what this is about. We had all these guests. If anybody that's in the chat is watching with us, we'd love to have you guys there. Please come. 7-figure MSP events /Denver. We'd love to have you. This event will sell out. We're only going to have 250 seats available to us at the Revivalist show at Red Rocks. So please register now if you want to come with us. This is going to be probably the baddest ass show that we have. Shelby's trying to talk me into some like marijuana themes. I'm like, Shelby, we can't do that.
We're not doing that.
He's like, let's do Mile High. I'm like, Shelby, no, we're not doing that.
Shelby,
He's like, I just want to be naughty. I'm like, yeah, you go be naughty on your own. You don't have to be naughty on my money. No, because weed is legal, guys. That's the big deal there. So anyway, would love to have you there. Our events are badass and they're a lot of fun. So please try and come if you can make it. They're great. Next thing, I just want to talk a little bit about our coaching team. You got obviously Chris and Lindsay here on the call with us. We also have Cindy Phillips, who's our VP of sales coaching. We have Ryan O'Hara, who's our VP of member services. Ryan runs all the tech stuff, all the stack side, teaching you guys how to run cybersecurity risk assessments. Cindy teaches how to run the play. That's the 7-figure MSP sales method, top to bottom. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But the 4 of us make up the core of our coaching team. We have a bunch of other people that go along with it as well. But our whole goal is to double your recurring revenue. Whatever you have, our goal is to double your recurring revenue in 6 months or less. Now, sometimes it doesn't take that because the big factor that we have is we are dealing with MSPs that don't like to execute. They don't like to change. They don't like to evolve. And Lindsay, we were talking about the personal trainer stuff earlier, right? There's a lot of people that have personal trainers, but you know what they don't do? They don't follow the exercises. They don't work out. They don't eat right. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be in the best shape of your life if you do that? Never going to happen. So we could be the best coaches in the world, but if you don't actually execute, it's not going to matter. So I highly recommend coming into our program. We are the kick in the butt that you need. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. Got a couple other things that we're going to go through here. First of all, I want you guys to understand, and we'll talk a little bit about the MSP industry here, how much things in the MSP market have changed. Now, I am seeing so much. I'm going to pivot a little bit off of my normal discussions here. Seeing so many people talking about commoditized, people selling projects, people selling individual products and on this race to zero, and they're having to fight the cheap guy and they're not winning. And they're losing clients to cheap. That is always going to happen. That is going to happen in every single market, especially, in fact, had a guy message in the IT and MSP business owners chat earlier. Actually, I'm going to read this. Let me see if I can find this. Did I lose it? Damn it, I lost it. Okay, never mind. But he basically was messaging in the chat that, oh wait, here I got it. He said, I know I generally don't post, but after today, I'm working through next steps. Over the last 2 years, we've really matured our sales process, have a very well-developed marketing plan, sales funnel management, daily tracking of KPIs, the whole deal, and it worked fantastically until now. We've always seen it fluctuate throughout the year, but we've never seen such a hard dip in the amount of leads filling the top of the funnel until 60 days ago where numbers just tanked. Our funnel's drying up fast. I'm not worried about things long-term, but I'm wondering if I'm the only one seeing the dip. And I said, the entire market across the board is really weird. I will tell you that it's an election year similar to 2020. Now, granted, we were in COVID time in 2020, but the bottom line is every time there's an election year, things change and things pivot. So that means you have to understand how to sell in today's market. You also have to understand the things that Lindsay's going to teach you today, which is lead gen, putting leads into your pipeline, working on all these things. But where I want to come back around to is how much things in the market have changed. The things that you're seeing old school are always going to be there. The people on the race to the bottom, going for the cheapest scenario, selling per product, selling on guarantees, even selling break fix. Those things aren't going to change. But we have to understand, if you want to differentiate yourself in today's market, even in an election year, even when we got financial stuff going all over the place, we got concerns, we got Bitcoin hitting huge numbers today. It was over 70,000 today, Lindsay. I don't know if you saw that, but
wow, I did not see that.
It's constantly changing and evolving, and we got things that are like going crazy and people outside. Like, so we got all this fluctuation all over the place. What is our job as an MSP? It's not to provide help desk. It's not to provide break fix services. It's not to provide any of those things as a core. Now, I'm not going to say you're not doing that stuff. Still matters. Doesn't mean you're not delivering services. Doesn't mean you're not installing things and doing your best, all these other things. Our job as an MSP now, number one, you have to focus on cybersecurity. So when I say things have changed, that is thing number one. You have to lead with cybersecurity. That is absolutely massively key. Second thing that you have to do, you have to show your clients that things are different now. They are going to get hacked. I walk into every single room that I present live at, which is a lot. I do this 3-4 times a month, every single month, online, in person. We're going to Ottawa next week. I'll be presenting live there. We go to IT Nation. I have hundreds and hundreds of people in the room, and I say, put your hands up. Everybody in the room, put your hands up. Everybody puts their hands up, and I say, who in this room can prevent all hacks? Lindsay, you watched me do this when we were in Indianapolis. All the hands go down, because every MSP, everybody knows they can't prevent all hacks. But what's going on the other side? What do your clients think? They think that you got their back. They think, I got an IT guy, I'm good. But what's the reality of it? Those businesses are not prepared. And when I say that, they will get hacked. They will have breaches. They will have compromises. They will have the 19-inch problem, which, if you guys don't know what that means, it's the 19 inches between the chair and the keyboard. It's the people. So anytime you have, in fact, one of the guys in the room, I think it was Patrick Kemp, said this out loud in the room that day. He said, well, I can prevent all hacks. I'll just take the people out and unplug all the networks. Okay, that's it. That's your answer. I'm not going to debate that. You probably can prevent stuff, but there's not a whole lot of business that's going to get done. So you have to talk about these things. You have to get in front of your clients, because all of them still treat IT support, cybersecurity tech. They see MSP or IT as a bargain basement service, because they are thinking like they always have. Nothing has changed in their brain. They're always going to be in a place, unless you tell them, unless you separate yourselves, that they think you are already doing everything they need for cybersecurity. This is a massive thing that you have to realize. So unless you actively go out there and tell them, they're going to be in the same exact spot that they've always been. You think about your oldest client, the oldest relationship you have in your entire stable of clients. How did they think of you? Well, they hired you more than likely because MSP has always been the same. Nothing's changed, right? MSP's always been the same. So they probably hired you to install stuff new and fix things when they break and maybe make them more efficient. But that's a distant third, because they got my back. They think you're already, I got an IT guy. Think about the differentiator walking into some of these companies. Hey, I'm here to talk to you about cybersecurity. We already have an IT company. We're good. Like, that's usually the differentiator that they don't care about. So your job is to change that brain. You have to reframe their mindset. And I cannot state that enough or loud enough, that you have to reframe their entire state of mind. And if you don't do that, we call that the risk light bulb. If you don't turn on their risk light bulb, it's never going to matter. And all they're going to see is tech, fix, break, fix. That's all they care about. So how do we fix some of these things? I'm going to go into a couple of these things, especially for you people that this is the first time seeing me. Now, side note, we got a lot of people that are brand new with us today. If you're seeing me for the first time, you're probably looking at me like, that dude's really loud and annoying. And he's wrong. I can't do this in my market. I can't tell people this. I can't do these things. I promise you guys, if you buy in, if you believe what we're talking about and you own it, this works everywhere in the world. We are doing this, and I want to walk you through kind of the path, the small path, and then we'll kind of show you our coaching program at the very end after Lindsay. But the bottom line is this whole thing works across the board, and it works in, we're doing this again, every English-speaking country in the world, including South Africa, including Zimbabwe. We're doing like some crazy countries that I never would have thought we're doing.
So we actually have a question, Chris, before you go to the next slide. Zach said, how can this method be applied to an MSSP that only does cyber? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, honestly. So an MSSP, Lindsay, I'm not sure how familiar. Lindsay doesn't come from MSP land. That means managed security service provider. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it, but what I would do, Zach, is I would lead. Honestly, I would pretty much do the same process. Now, what we teach is, and actually, let's do this, Lindsay. Zach, I'm going to table this for just a second. And then I want to come back after I finish talking, kind of going through this. And let's see, I want you to come back and answer the same question or ask the same question and see where you sit. Because I'm going to kind of tell you how to pitch it. It's basically the same pitch. And let's go through it right now. So first of all, you have to sell. Now, most MSPs aren't selling cybersecurity. They're selling tech support. They're selling break fix. We got to flip that up. So in Zach, your case, you have to purely lead with cybersecurity, which means not letting your client, and this is where this comes into play for the typical MSP, no good, better, best, not small, medium, large. This also plays for you, Zach. No good, better, best. Your best stack. Think about this. You go to a very specific niche lawyer. They're not like, oh, do you want the small, medium, large? They're like, here's what you need. You want to do M&A? Here's what you need. Here's what you got. It's just a different, honestly, it's just a different mousetrap. That's the only deal. So you have to be very confident in your sales process, and you have to lead with your solution to a problem. And most MSPs come to me and they're like, well, I deal with price point. Okay, I understand that. You can always dial it down. And Zach, this is where this maybe comes in for you. We can always dial it down. But I want you to think about this. When I walk up to any MSP and I say, hey, if you had unlimited budget at every single client you have or every single prospect you have, would you put in the good, the better, or the best? Every single MSP is like, well, if I had unlimited budget, I'd put in the best. That's what you should be putting in, because now, and at the very least, side note, at the very least, this is what you should be presenting, and then saying, well, okay, that's fine. Here's what you should have. Here's why you should have that. It's all about my next slide, liability, guys. Because here's why you need this, Mr. Client. Because what happens if we get a supply chain hack? What happens if we have all these things that happen, even in MSSP land? We have all these things that can happen, and then we have to deal with remediating this breach. And then we go back to the insurance company, and they're like, well, why didn't you do this? Why, Mr. MSP, you knew better. Why didn't you put in the full solution for the client? Well, they didn't want to pay it. Okay, did you offer that to them? Well, no, we just, they didn't want to pay. Why don't they want to pay? Think about this. Because they are still operating in their brain just like they always did, and they can't differentiate on their own from MSP of 20 years ago or cyber only, even MSSP of 5 years ago. When I sold my MSP in 2015, which is damn near 10 years ago now, so we're just about 9 years ago since I sold my MSP, there was MSSPs then selling mostly firewall solutions at that point, but they still existed. It's up to you to show the client what they should have, and more importantly, why. Here's why you need this. And what's crazy, we had a gentleman in Indianapolis speak. His name is Randy Schwantz. Randy Schwantz wrote the book, The Wedge. Randy came from insurance land. He was an insurance trainer for years, taught insurance companies how to sell insurance. You know what Lindsay, you watched him on stage. He was like, this is so crazy because I compare MSP now to hurricane coverage. Randy literally came and he's like, well, it's just like insuring against a hurricane. If the insurance company can prove that you were negligent during that period, they're not going to pay your coverage. They're not going to pay out your claim. So it's your job now as an MSP to prepare like it's a hurricane. Everybody's going to get hit. You just got to show that you cared. You got to show that you did some effort. We boarded up the windows. We prepared, we evacuated, we did all these different things, and we made sure that our stuff wasn't going to get destroyed the best we can, and the house still floated away. Wow, that sucks. Pay my claim. Not, you didn't even have MFA installed, so you're negligent. Because the one thing I'm going to tell you is, or ask you, is how will you or your clients refute a charge of gross negligence? And that's a real thing that you have to start asking, and you have to start understanding these things, guys. This is a massive, massive, massive factor. These are huge deals. So thing one on this, no more good, better, best. Lead with cybersecurity and present your best offering. Full stack. You can always dial it down based on term. You can always dial it down based on budget, but let the client make that solution or that decision based on potential repercussions, not because you're scared to sell them X, or not because they have to understand why, so they can make that decision. That is really key. Second part of this, you have to lead with every single situation. Everything starts with cybersecurity. Everything moves into a client discovery risk assessment. So Zach, coming back to you, think about this. What should every client have? Doesn't matter whether it's cyber only, co-managed, whatever, or full managed services, fine. But we let the client decide, and we find pain with what we call a CSRA, client cybersecurity risk assessment. My brain just farted right there.
I know you're being me now. What?
Yeah, that's Monday or whatever. So CSRA, cybersecurity risk assessment. That's a 7-figure MSP term. I don't care what you call it. It doesn't matter. But you want to lead with some type of risk assessment. Now, what's key on this? Not some free. In fact, I still got this guy sitting here. Got my orange drive here. You guys remember these guys, right? Not those guys. Not the old school way. Now, their new stuff's great. Not going to knock anybody's software. Don't have a problem with it. I don't care what software you use. I don't care what program you use. I don't care how you find it. But you have to do a full risk assessment, because we need to show all of the potential ways that people can potentially get hit. Why that full risk assessment? Obviously, and this is literally what got done before. We gathered data, maybe some pain points and some tech issues. Okay, so we present that to them or give them a report, plop it in front of them. We had the whole book of stuff, boom, on the table. So that's obviously where it stopped before. And my recommendation also, I would charge for a risk assessment, and I would make sure you charge probably a minimum of $1,500. Zach, in your case, MSSP land, you're moving up the ladder. You're moving up the chain. You're probably looking at pen testing. You're looking at some other things because they care about cybersecurity and they know that. So you're moving up the ladder to probably $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 CSRAs. The most I've seen in our client base is $68,000. Somebody charged for a full CSRA, a cybersecurity risk assessment that they charged a prospect for. That was big. Think about that. Next point, we have to find more pain and discover emotional ties. Now, this is very, very key, because how do we turn on the risk light bulb? How do we get them to care about risk and shift that brain? We have to turn on some type of emotional ties in their head. This is really key. But we also have to know their network better than the hackers. What things are the hackers going after? What potential process pieces might they be going after? What SOPs might be missing? What policy scenarios might be screwed up? Do they have plain text passwords stored in all their browsers? Do they have no MFA? Like, all these things we have to know, because the hackers sit resident sometimes for months watching and seeing what the behaviors are and studying the client, so they can potentially jump in and steal stuff. And usually the thing that they're after now is not trying to ransom a network or all these other things. They're trying to get money direct from the client is what they're trying to do. But the most important thing in this entire scenario is you have to show the prospect what a hack will actually do. Now, this, along with actually admitting you're going to get hacked, Mr. Client, is probably your most important thing, and also probably the biggest, most important thing that the MSP often skips, because this is really uncomfortable. I don't want to admit that they're going to get, that hackers are going to get in. I don't want to talk about this. This is stuff we talk about like in the back rooms in the closet. We don't want to bring this up. Be wide open about it. There's no IT guy in the world that can stop all hacks, guys. That's what you need to tell your prospects. You need to show them that this is real. And our job now isn't to prevent, because you can't prevent anything. Our job now is to prepare and recover. Make sure the claim gets paid. That's your job. So Zach, coming back to you on that whole thing, that's the stuff that matters. I have a deliverable for you guys. And Zach, come back to this because Zach, now let's bring up Zach's question again. Hold on, let me bring this up on the screen.
I got it right here.
Got it? Okay, so Lindsay's got this. So Zach said, how can this method be applied to an MSSP that only does cyber? If you think about it, Zach, it's the same exact stuff. You're selling a very similar mousetrap. It's just a more specialized mousetrap. So Zach, I'd like to have your comment on that. I'm going to keep going. We have a deliverable on this now. Our 7-figure MSP run the play worksheet. This is for you guys to grab. You can run the play on your existing client base. This is literally what we walk our clients through. Now, in our coaching program, we handhold you through this. We also give you a ton of content to make sure that this is done. We teach you how to run the play. We teach you how to do the assessment. We teach you how to sell. We teach you how to handle objections. And all of your deals are worked real time with our coaches. So this is the kind of stuff that really, really matters as you get into the trenches. But it gives you kind of the step-by-step that you can do on your own. Now, we definitely have guys that come into our programs and they're like, hey, I did this. In fact, we got Ryan Grimes just came into the program, was at our Indianapolis event and just signed with Lindsay and me last week. He's doing great, already hitting. He went from about $100 a seat in Indianapolis to about $300 a seat on average on his own. But there's still little things that are being missed because now we can go 400, 450 seat, get his close rates up. Also teach him how to market better and do differently, all these different things. And I love this also directly from Zach. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it. I appreciate the advice and you've alleviated some of my concern. You clarified that I'm on the right track. Good job, my man. I love to hear it. And I think you can see that everybody can do this and apply. So we got to run the play worksheet, which leads you into step number 3, which is actually presenting your risk findings. Now, most people, what they do, most MSPs, what they do is they take a printout from some software and they thud factor drop it in front of their client. They're like, here you go. Here's your report. Here's all the shit that I found on your network. When you want to sign, you have to show them what the potential risk is. Let's go back to what I said here. Showing them what a hack will really do. So you should be running a tabletop exercise. You should not be talking tech. We should remember when we were in like middle school. I'm older than most of you guys, but when we were in middle school, I'm 47 now. I can actually say I'm the old guy on the block. Lindsay's like a kid. So yeah.
Actually, you told me the other day, you're not that young. So I just turned 30 and I'm like, oh, do people take me seriously? Because I'm so young. And Chris is like, you're not that young.
Yeah, I ain't that young. Yeah. But my point with this is you have to actually show them what's going to happen when there's a breach. And what I was going to mention with the middle school thing, you remember when we were in middle school, Lindsay, again, you were like a child when this was actually, you probably not even born.
I was not born whenever you were in
17 years younger than me. Yeah. So when I was in high school and we did fire drills. What do we all do? They'd pull the fire drill, everybody would run outside and you'd stand there and be like, it's raining. And they're like, yeah, but we're on fire and it's, whatever. You got to learn how to do this stuff, guys. Like that's the stuff that we got to teach the clients because this is real. So you have to run the play. You have to show them what the pain might look like. And you highlight those pain points to create that emotional reaction. The people that are the best in this, in our whole coaching program, are the non-technical people. I will tell you that. The ones that are the best. Like Randy Schwantz came into this thing and he's like, oh, I can sell this all day because it's just selling risk, guys. If you do not turn on the risk light bulb, the decision makers have to get it. You're going to get hacked, Mr. Decision Maker. The hackers are after money. It will happen. What's your plan? Because they do not compute tech with cyber, tech with downtime, tech with money missing. It doesn't compute to them until they're like, we just had a $250,000 wire transfer go out and it looks like it got approved from our CEO, but he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't even here that day. How did this happen? They got to get it. They have to understand. And how well you convey that is whether you're going to win the deal or not. Because I promise you, and here's a big factor, they all have money, guys. Every single client that you're working with has the money for your services, has the money for $300 a seat, has the money for $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever $1,000 per month. They have the money for it. They just don't view you as important enough to spend it on you or your services. They move stuff around every day. People are paying payroll all the time. That is 5 figures a week, 6 figures a week. They see that as important enough. They all have health insurance. And what's the ROI on health insurance? Usually not much. So it's zero for a company, honestly. For a guy that offers a lot of health insurance, the ROI is zero. That's it. And you eliminate the price objection by highlighting and showing them those pain points and those needs. This is critical stuff. And until you change your mindset around that, you're never going to go to that next level. This is the difference, guys. This really, really makes an impact.
Yeah, I think this is, I just want to add something here, Chris. We have to remember that people usually don't make a change until there is pain that is felt. So until someone feels pain, or you have delivered enough awareness to them that they don't have to feel the pain themselves, but they can feel it from what you're showing them is possible, that's when a change takes place. So we can't get bitter or mad at our clients. Well, I told them I was going to raise my prices and they left. Well, did you do your due diligence in showing them that this is the risk? Did you do your due diligence as the one that is to deliver this news and say, hey, this is what's going on out there? We can't just go to our clients and try to raise our prices or pitch $300 a seat, but we're not putting our money where our mouth is and showing them why. Here's what's going on. Here's the risk. So we have to deliver the pain with that.
Yeah, so really good comment from Thomas here as well. Don't compete on cheap, compete on being the best. 100%. And side note, Thomas, on that, I agree with that 100%, but make sure you clarify what the best is. We're not just the best, because the problem you have with we're the best, everybody says they're the best. Show them the difference between cybersecurity and what is going to happen when they have a breach, and then use that. This is something that Randy Schwantz did really, really well sitting on stage. We did a Q&A session and all these other things, did some live workshops with some of our guys, with Riley in that room. I don't know if you saw that, Lindsay, when he like ripped Riley down. I shouldn't say it.
Riley handled it the opposite way.
Riley actually handled it really, really well. How do I even say that? Like, he didn't rip Riley down. Like, he tried to rip Riley down, and Riley was like, boom, boom, boom.
Right. Because Riley gave pushback. Like, Riley will give pushback, which I think was a really good conversation to have happen in that room. I think that was a really great workshop.
It was awesome. And what was cool about it was to watch how the wedge became the way that you differentiate yourself without even saying. You kind of lead the client there on their own. The client's like, oh shit, I guess we don't have that. Like, that was a big factor. So that was really cool. So, and Thomas just said, yes, I tell my customers that I provide the best for your business and situation. Totally agree with that. So, okay, I'm going to keep going here. And I think we are ready to hear from Miss Lindsay. So, Lindsay, I will.
All right.
Away.
Here we go.
And I'm going to pull out of here for 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So we've kind of heard from Chris around, we have to deliver the risk, and we have to show people, hey, this is what's going on in the cyber landscape. Here's how things have changed, times have changed, cyber attacks are way up, and here's what we have to do about it. Now, one of the biggest questions, or one of the biggest things that I see come from our community is, well, okay, my current clients are great, but how do I get the new leads in the door? What now? Or we kind of kick the marketing can, we kind of kick the lead generation can down the road, and we avoid it until it gets to that point of pain, like we were just talking about. And then it's like, oh crap, I got to get it together. I need 20 leads by tomorrow because, if any reason, maybe you have a huge client that's leaving you. Maybe they're selling their business, they're exiting. Maybe you realize that, hey, expenses have went up. We've got to do something now. So a lot of times I see MSPs not changing their behavior and not making an emphasis on getting new leads in the door and creating the sales and marketing process until it's kind of a little bit too late, right? So what I hope that you take away over my next 30 minutes or so is giving yourself and giving you and your team and your future a play-by-play plan. Okay. So everything that we are going to walk through today, it's very high level strategic. And then we have 3 or 2 webinars that follow this that kind of break down some of the specifics that we're going to walk through today. We have our next month's webinar all around outbound calling. So you're going to hear me talk about outbound marketing today, outbound lead generation, outbound sales process. And then next month, we go through what that actual outbound call process looks like. And then the following month, we talk about how do I make sure that I'm expending those outbound resources on actual qualified leads. So we make sure that we have a really tight process for getting in qualified leads and not just like, random people in the door because someone on the phone promised them the cheapest prices. Okay. So everything that we're going to walk through today is rinse, repeat, scalable, and it all builds on each other. Okay. So as we go, please ask questions in the chat, chat with me, talk with me, and we can move through this together. Okay. So your job as CEO or as head of revenue, if CEO, chief revenue officer, head of sales, marketing, etc., your job is to be bringing leads to and through the pipeline every single day, period. Because if you are not the one that's driving the ship, I promise you, no one on your team will ever be better than you are at driving the business, period. Okay, we kind of joke about it internally, like Chris being like this mad scientist almost of like, guys, I have this crazy idea that we're going to do. And we're like, oh God, what is it? But that really is so true. No one's ever going to have the vision for your business that you do. So it has to be your job to be prioritizing lead generation and leads to go into and then through the sales process every single day. Okay. So, and just to kind of put this into perspective, our marketing machine clients, which is our step-by-step curriculum inside of our program, they devote 20 hours a week at least to their marketing and their lead generation. So that means that every single week, they're putting in 20, 25, sometimes even more hours every single week, making sure that they have leads come in and then through their pipeline. And that's what we're doing is we're creating this rinse and repeat system. Now, we're going to talk about it a little bit down the training today, but we're going to talk about how you eventually scale this to where your team starts to take it over so that it's not constantly on you, so that it's not always, you running this, because again, you're the visionary. You have to be the one that drives the boat. So I just wanted to put it into perspective, though, that this does not come easy. It doesn't come overnight. It's not like we said, oh, I'm going to wake up one day and decide I want 20 new leads in my pipeline. It's something that we all have to be working on all the time. And in fact, I tell our marketing machine clients this all the time, that you're always marketing, whether you're doing it intentionally or not. That's the question. But every time you show up anywhere, you are marketing. Every time you walk into your client's doors, you're marketing. Every time you pick up the phone, every time you go to the grocery store, every time you post something on Facebook, you are the face of your company. Okay. So you might as well put some intention behind it and make it count. Okay. So you can actually see just really quick a couple of examples of our clients who are running this stuff every single week. We've got Earl says, hey, I just started a marketing machine. I already have a first time appointment tomorrow. And you can actually see right here, if you ever see if you're new to our community or to the 7-figure sales process, if you ever see the letters FTA, that means first time appointment. And I'm going to show you a full walkthrough, a full visual of that sales process here in a few minutes. And you're going to be able to see how all that ties in. But what that means is the lead comes into the door. They're saying, hey, I'm going to raise my hand. I'm kind of interested in what it is that you're talking about. And you're saying, okay, let me see if this could even be a fit. We're not quoting them. We're not sending proposals. We're not sending invoices. We're just seeing, oh, can this even be a fit? So Earl says, hey, I just started a marketing machine and I already have a first appointment. You've got John Hansman up here. He's presenting to 145 CPAs. You've got Carmine says, I'm getting my marketing rhythm. I've got webinars, my lives, my newsletters, all these things. So this is just a testament to the work that has to be put in because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It does take work. Okay. And you can also see here, you got Carl presenting to over 50 CPAs in the room, and then another webinar up here from Jason Adams at Blue Team. They're actually one of our Leads Mastery clients. And they had, hey, we had our first webinar. We had 3 of 8 registrants show up, and we had an immediate first-time appointment. Chris, I'm going to put you on mute because there's like something echoing over there. So I'm just going to mute you for a second. Feel free to come off mute if you must. Joking. Wow. All right. So all of that to say that our marketing machine students, our best clients, the ones that really see they get the most bang for the buck, are the ones that are actually immersing themselves into their pipeline and they're owning their results. Because again, you back up a couple of slides over here, we know that our job is to drive leads to and through that pipeline every single day. And I think this is a shift that has to happen for a lot of us, because you have probably been the best tech. You have been the best engineer. You've been the smartest person that works with your clients. You've been the face that goes in to your clients' offices and to their doors, and they want to see you and they know you. Maybe they have your personal cell phone number, but we have to start looking at ourselves as the ones that drive revenue. All right. And if you're already there, if you're like, yeah, Lindsay, I got that. all day, I could do that. Now we have to start thinking about, okay, how do I scale it? Is what I'm doing, is it repeatable? Can I hand this off to someone else and then they can go and do it? Okay. So everything we're going to walk through today is—
Can I say something really quick on that? Can you just back up one slide real quick?
It's putting this into a strategic system so that you can rinse and repeat.
Just because Lindsay is saying that that needs to be your focus, that does not mean you're a bad MSP. Also doesn't mean you're neglecting service. And like MSPs get this mindset like, okay, so you're telling me to focus on sales and you're telling me to focus on lead gen, so I should just rip off my clients and be a shitty MSP. No, it just means that your job as the owner, CEO, founder, whatever your title is, the leader, is to run the strategy and your core responsibility. And this is across every business. Like we were just talking about the personal trainer thing. Like I've been kind of advising my trainer a little bit, and I'm like, your number one role, Claudia, you have to make sure there's butts in seats in all of your stuff. So what do I talk? Like my focus is like making sure we have sets in front of our closers, making sure we have people on the webinar, because you know what? That pays for the party, pays for everything down the line. And I promise you as an MSP, you can deliver better services. Like think about this. I ask you, can you deliver better services with more profitability and a happy team and the ability to choose and do R&D and all these other things? Can you deliver better services that way? Or if you're just like scrounging for the bottom of the barrel and doing everything you can to survive, I promise you can deliver better services with more money. I'll try.
Yeah, and one of the biggest drivers for improvement is more sales. It's the more demand that you have for your product, for your services, ultimately the better they're going to get, because you're like, oh crap, I got to tighten my game up. I can now start to see where things are broken. So for an example, in our masterminds or in Marketing Machine, the more people internally, the more people that we would get in, we would start to see, oh, well, this system is broken. We got to fix that. Oh, I could see better results could come from this part. Let's improve that. So it's this, it kind of, one feeds into the other. The more sales you get, the more people that are in your world, the better your services have the potential to be. So this is only going to make you better. All right, so let me zoom through here. Okay, so let me just quickly run through some things that maybe you're already doing to, to work on marketing and sales and lead generation. And I want to just offer you a different way of looking at things. Okay. So again, this isn't to like call anyone out, but also it's for us to get kind of real with ourselves and say, hey, I think that I could probably do this a little bit differently. Or maybe this thing isn't working. It's working, but it's not really working. Okay, so just hang with me here. And if any of these things sound familiar to you, feel free to let me know in the chat which one pops out at you. Just let me know in the chat, okay? And then we can help walk you through that. So a couple of things that, again, what our most successful clients are not doing, or they try to shift away from, are copying and pasting what they see other seemingly successful MSP doing. And what I mean by this is they're looking at them from the outside and they're saying, oh, well, I saw Johnny put $1,000 a month in ads and I should probably do that. Or, oh, I saw them running pay-per-click ads on Google, or they're doing a commercial, or they did a billboard, or they did a magazine ad. Maybe I should go do that too. We don't know what's happening in the back of Johnny's business. We don't know if that's working. We don't know the numbers. We don't know if that's actually converting. We don't know the reason why they're doing that. Are they doing it for brand awareness, or are they actually doing it for lead generation? I'm not really talking about brand awareness today. I'm talking about getting you leads on the calendar. I'm talking about getting calls on the calendar. Everything that we do inside of Marketing Machine, every single thing is all around getting appointments on the calendar. It's not marketing for the sake of show. It's marketing for the sake of dollars in the pipeline. Okay. So we do not want to dump all the work on our team with no guidance, no strategy, no vision, or any type of experience on our end, and then expect overnight results. So this is why in Marketing Machine, you have to, as CEO, as MSP owner, you actually have to go through the process with your team. Okay. Because again, if we want to rinse and repeat, if we want to scale our marketing and our lead gen, if we want to scale our business, we have to be able to offer a two-way insight into, oh, okay, marketing manager, we see that we're not getting signups for our webinar each month. Well, I don't know what to do about it. We don't want that. Instead, it's, Oh, okay, we're not getting signups. Well, tell me, how many reach outs have you done this week? How many conversations are you having? What are the top 3 objections that you're getting? You have to be able to have some context to be able to lead your team. You cannot just dump it on them and then expect the results to happen overnight. Okay. We also do not want to outsource this to all-in-one marketing agencies. Now, there are times and places for contractors, subcontractors, to have some folks on your team that can take on one area at a time, as long as you are leading the pack. Again, it comes back to you owning that strategy. But I think that there's a big myth with the all-in-one marketing agencies where it's like, yeah, we're just going to handle everything for you. We're going to do your social, your ads, your content, your email, your newsletters, all these things. And then I will talk to our MSPs and say, yeah, I outsourced this. I paid them $6,000 a month for all of our marketing needs. And I say, okay, well, how many appointments have you gotten from that? None. Okay. Most of us in this webinar right now are not in that place where we need marketing for the sake of marketing. If you are a $100 million company, sure, we can throw out $100,000 a year just for the fun of it. Sure. Okay. But we're not. We got to have leads on the calendar. And if you're putting money into marketing agencies and you cannot put your finger on an ROI, it's a waste of money. Okay. So I really want us to think about that. So start asking yourself, what has been the ROI on this marketing strategy? What has been the appointment conversion rate? What has been added to my calendar from this? How many of us were qualified? Start asking those questions. That's what's going to make you money. Okay?
And there are so many MSPs that are just like, I'm just going to hire this appointment booking company and they'll fill my calendar. Guys, I promise you, I've done that. We've had, how many of our members, Lindsay, have done that? I'd say 19 out of 20, maybe even a little bit higher than that. Maybe 29 out of 30 would say that's been a giant money pit that doesn't work very well. And the biggest problem, and I'm not saying they don't do their job and they don't do effort.
And I get it, right? I totally get it.
They all do effort. They're all actually pretty damn good at their job, but they're not using your strategy. They're using theirs. So if you can find a firm that will align with your strategy and they'll do all the work, hey, great, awesome. But it's really hard to find because they can't scale that very well.
Yeah.
Right? And Hannah just said wasted money. 100% agree with that. Yep.
Yeah. And Zach, I actually just saw your question over here. Could you provide some good sources of leads for people just starting out? I'm actually going to walk you through that. So I'm going to give you some quick tangibles that you can do today.
We're also going to have a full Q&A at the end, guys. So, if you got questions that you want to drill me or Lindsay on, feel free to queue them up.
Absolutely.
I'll add them for you.
Okay, so we don't want to outsource it to these all-in-one agencies. We don't want to depend on referrals alone. And what that means is most MSPs that I've met have grown by accident, and they've grown from, word of mouth. And people just know me and my clients send me referrals, and that's awesome. Love that. Wonderful. But what happens when the economy takes a dip? What happens when you have your biggest client pull out because they're going somewhere cheaper and they took up 40% of your revenue? What happens when we are ready to scale because we want to take time back from the business and we would like to work a little bit less? How do we do that if we don't actually have a marketing and sales system that we can rinse and repeat? Okay. You cannot rinse and repeat referrals. And then we do not want to say that we are too introverted to market or network. Every single one of us are capable of going out and getting leads, period. We do not want to hide in the shadows, wait for the leads to come to us. Again, can't rinse and repeat that. We cannot hide behind our computer, behind the tech. We can't say, I don't like to network. I'm too introverted. Can I just hand this stuff off? At what cost? Sure, but at what cost? Okay. And we do not want to soak up tons of free info, including this webinar, including our content, and then not take action. So at the end of this webinar today, I'm going to ask you, Chris and I are actually going to ask you, what are you going to go and do today? What's the thing that you are actually going to go and do? What actionable can you start with? I'm going to give you several actionables today, but that's the key to all of this. It's taking action. And Chris is a huge proponent of execution. And it's like a running theme in our community around like, all right, did you execute? That's great. But like execute like a crazy person, which just means taking action, doing something. You can't fail if you're moving forward, right? So at least fail forward. And then again, let's not sit behind our computers, building the perfect ebook, building the perfect freebie, building the perfect website. This is another one of those things, Chris, where it's like, oh, I can't start Marketing Machine because I'm building my website and it's not done yet. And it's like, well, how many people are even visiting your website, right? Like, how many clicks have you actually gotten on your website the past month? Probably not enough to be spending 20 hours a week.
Honestly, ours still sucks. I kind of don't care. And I focus on putting my name in people's mouth. That's I say this a lot. I said this on stage a couple weeks ago. Like, that's a major focus of mine, is actively getting in front of people. We have a huge outbound team. We have 9 people on our outbound team. That's cold calling and cold emailing and cold DMing and all these. Like, that's what we do. And our focus is to get people to come to our stuff and put Chris Weiser and 7-Figure MSP in their mouth. Like, that's the goal of that whole thing. And we control that.
That's exactly what we're going to talk about.
Versus, think about this, waiting around for somebody to need you without being able to control that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So
think about dating. Think about this. Think about dating that way. I'm just going to sit around and wait for somebody to come to my profile to find the perfect partner.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds stupid. It sounds stupid.
Yeah. Yep, totally agree. Okay, so what we do want to do, so here's what we're going to walk through today. We want to make sure that we're positioning ourselves as, like Chris said, cybersecurity first. So we're going to position ourselves as cybersecurity experts, and we're going to get into the rooms, again, like put our name in people's mouths, get into the rooms with our IDO clients. We're going to make sure that we have a process to build out target market lists, IDO client lists, and then go and build an actual relationship with them through rinse and repeat nurture processes or inbound and outbound marketing. Okay. And then we're going to practice skills and build the team that, again, helps implement the rinse and repeat strategy. So you're going to see a lot of stuff around rinse and repeat. That's the entire premise of this. Everything that we do is built around scale. Okay, so how do our clients position themselves as cybersecurity experts, get into the room with their IDO clients? Again, cybersecurity first. I want you to put a 1 in the chat if whenever someone talks to you, they meet you in a networking event, they visit your website, they go to your social media profile, do they know that you are a cybersecurity first company? Does your brand exemplify that you are a cybersecurity first company? I'm curious. Put a 1 in the chat for yes, 2 in the chat for no. Yes, you are cybersecurity first and people know it, or 2, I'm not cyber first, or people don't know that I am. Okay, we have to make sure that we are exemplifying that every single place that we go, every conversation that we have. It's not a matter of, oh, sure, we can help you with cybersecurity after we finish the project that you called us about, or yeah, let me give you a quote. Oh, by the way, we also offer cybersecurity if you're interested. Again, no pain, no gain. If they don't feel the pain, they're not going to pay up. Okay, so we have to be the ones that walk through that entire sales process, deliver that rinse and repeat cybersecurity risk assessment, show them the pain, turn on the risk light bulb, show them, help them become more aware of what's possible. Then, of course, we're going to lead with cybersecurity, which would, of course, include all the things that they're coming to you for in most cases. Okay, so I see some 1s over here. I see some 2s. Awesome. Good deal. And we're going to proudly act like the expert. So whenever someone, again, meets you or they see you in a networking event, you have to own that you're the expert. Okay, we have to own that we know what we're talking about. Now, even if you are new, if you are not on that MSSP side and you are on the MSP side and you're like, well, Lindsay, I don't really have any security certifications and I'm kind of just dipping my toe in the water and I'm not there yet. What I know to be certain about our industry is that we have resources and the most phenomenal people that are there to help you. Okay. And we see this from our partners, from our sponsors at our live events. We see this on LinkedIn. Like what I was not from MSP land whenever I started here almost 2.5 years ago. I wasn't from here, but it became so clear how much people wanted to help you and how there's just resources. And most of what you're doing as an MSP or MSP who's now focusing on cybersecurity is that you don't have to be the expert in everything. You just have to know that you can get the answers, that you have partners that can help you. You have people that provide the services. You've got all these awesome people, Total, SaaS Alerts, all these awesome people. And they're the ones that are going to help support you and help back your play. Okay. So Yes, you can get certifications. Yes, you can invest into higher education. I'm a huge fan of higher education, all these things, but do not wait until you have all those things before you start running this process. All right. It's just like, I don't want to wait until I get fit before I go to the gym. I don't want to wait until I feel good in the bathing suit before I start working out. That doesn't make any sense. I have to start now, and then I'm going to feel better. Then I'm going to get fit. Then I'm going to want to go do those things. So you have to start now. Again, nothing is going to push action more than action. So take action, and then that's going to force you to go find the resources. That's going to force you to go find the partners, the technology, the security knowledge that you need to back your clients. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. And this, Zach, is actually going to tie into your question of where can I go get leads right now? Every single person inside of this webinar room right now can go and do this. YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the places you can do this. I'm going to show you a template on the very next page. What this is going to do, again, it's going to force you to take action. Okay. So do not overthink it. Take the template. You're going to see a screenshot of it, and I'm going to give you an actual download. Take the template. And then I want you to send this to your list of clients, to your current list of clients. Can be your break fix clients, can be your monthly recurring revenue clients, can be past clients, project clients, doesn't matter. But you're going to ask for an educational opportunity to go and educate, to go and serve, to go and offer value to people that they may know. Okay, so you are going to offer something in reciprocation for them to send you referrals to go and educate people in their community. All right. I'm going to give you another resource to help you go and do that. So you're going to be totally good. No excuses whatsoever. Okay. Then once you do that, I want you to send 3 asks to organizations in your community. Again, you're going to have templates for this as well, but this can be to Chamber of Commerce. This can be to nonprofits. This can be to networking groups such as Rotary Club, any of the provisors, any of the networking groups that you have, women in business, women in cybersecurity, all these different networking groups that you may have in your community. And you're going to ask 3 of those organizations for you to go in and educate on how to protect their business from costly cyber attacks. Okay. Again, we are positioning ourselves as that cybersecurity expert. So I'm not going into these organizations teaching, here's how to set up multi-factor authentication. No, I'm going in and saying, hey, here's what you need to know about the changing cyber landscape. Times have changed. Cyber attacks are way up. Here's how we protect your business. And you go in and teach on these topics. And a side effect of that is, oh, well, we need to get you a cybersecurity risk assessment. The first step to making a path of action is to assess the risk. So again, all roads are going to lead to that CSR.
And something that I would do, guys, like Lindsay, you did a great job on this, because most MSPs are like, oh, here's why you need MFA in your, give them stuff they can actually do. Like, give them an assignment. Lindsay's going to give you a couple templates coming up here to work on, but give them things that that are actionable things that, like, look at the thing I just gave you guys. I gave you a deliverable. Lindsay's going to give you some deliverables. Go do it teach them how to do it on their own. Give them the best free stuff they've ever had. Because if that's how good your free stuff is, they're going to be like, oh my God, how good's the real shit? Mm-hmm. That's what you want them thinking. And hey, if they're going to go check their own business for, like, their whole office for plain text passwords in all your browsers, and, make sure that your bank account has MFA on it, and make sure, like, let them do that stuff on their own. Encourage them to do that on their stuff. Get them actioning and doing these things and participating, because they're going to be like, holy crap. This is stuff that why isn't our current MSP telling us to do this? See what I'm saying? It makes a difference.
Yep, absolutely. And then that's also how you start standing out again with that price point. So if going from maybe charging $70 a seat is the common in your area, and now you're like, oh, well, Chris and Lindsay said I got to charge $300 a seat. How do I justify that? Well, whenever you come in and you start asking these questions and you start having them walk through these activities, and you're showing them, here's what's really going on. And that's the position that we take in every single room that we go in. There's that difference between $70 a seat, $40 a seat, $300 to $350. It's going to become very, very evident. And that's how you're going to position yourself as that expert. Okay, so this is a really, really fast screenshot. You don't have to take a picture of this. I'm going to give you the template, but you can see here, this one was actually from Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I have several in the template that are not from Cybersecurity Awareness Month. But what we're doing is we are reaching out to that existing list of clients that we have, and we're just saying, hey, as you know, digital landscape is changing really fast. We want to make sure that we are reaching out to the community. We're on a mission to protect the community. We're on a mission to protect small businesses. We believe that organizations like yours can benefit immensely. I'm not going to read all this, but basically what we're asking is that if you could send us a referral for a training session, if we could go in and train another small business like yours, we'd like to offer your company XYZ in return. So this could be a gift card. This could be a fill the fridge. This could be taking them out to lunch. This could be a pizza party. This could be anything for their organization to offer, hey, thank you for that referral. Here's what we'd like to do in return. And we actually do this once a quarter inside of our group, and it works great. Every single one of us should have a quarterly referral system in place that gets your clients trained. We have to train them. If no one's sending us referrals or opportunities, and that's on us because we have to train them to do that, we want to make sure it's very seamless, and we want to make sure that they know who is our ideal client. How do they send them to us? Here's what we can do. And you can actually see right here, I think you can see my mouse, 1, 2, 3. Here's how we make that referral process seamless. You can introduce us via email. You can share this link, or you can forward us their contact details and we can reach out. Okay, so very, very simple template. If you scan this code or you use this link, sevenfiguremsp.link/ask template, it will take you straight to a SharePoint file, and you will be able to download 4, I think it has like 5 different templates in there from that referral ask from your clients, as well as the ask to networking groups, to chambers of commerce, to colleges in your community, different organizations that you can reach out to offer a training. Now, if you're wondering, well, Lindsay, why do I have to go offer a training? Shouldn't I just be asking for a first-time appointment? You have to earn that right, okay? You have to earn the right to someone's one-on-one time. And if you can go in and, like Chris said, offer all this stuff for free, you go in, you lead with value, then that's going to, again, open up that risk, or turn on that risk light bulb, open up their eyes to the risk that's out there. And then the most natural next step is for them to say, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's sit down. Let's talk about this. Our current IT person is not talking to us about this stuff, so something's not right here. We need to talk about it. That's how you're going to lead with value, build trust, build leadership. And then again, we're going to go into that step, rinse and repeat sales process. Okay. I think I keep putting my mouse in the way. So let me see if I can do it without. Perfect. Now, Zach, again, this is going to kind of come back to that original question. Well, all right, I'm kind of starting out. I need to get leads. First things first, I'm going to run this ask template because this is 100% free. In fact, all 3 things I'm going to show you today is all free, but this is the most, these are the leads, the opportunities that are the closest to the money. And what I mean by that is if I think about the path to money, if I think about the path to a paid contract, the folks that are closest to paying a contract are the ones that have already worked with me. They've already paid me. There's already been an exchange. There's already been an exchange of trust. So I'm going to go to those people who I already had that rapport built with. I'm not going to start out with cold leads. Why would I start out with cold leads whenever I already have people over here that have paid me, they know me, they love me, they trust me? I'm going to start there first. Okay. It's also why in 7-Figure MSP, in our group coaching program, we start with our clients as well to go and run the play on, to make sure that they're upgraded, to make sure that they have their risk light bulb turned on, to make sure that we're not holding that liability on behalf of them being unprotected. Okay. Again, closest to the money. Start here first. Okay. Now, once you've done that, then we can start with our cold leads. Then we can start to build out actual prospect lists. We can start to build relationships with new leads that are in the pipeline. But I want to start closest to the money first. So to do that, we got to make sure that we're out of this. Okay, I'm just going to rely on referrals. Or, well, people can just search me, right? Shouldn't I just set up a Google listing? Yes, you should do those things. Absolutely. Love that. But that's not truly scalable or predictable. I cannot predict how many people will search for IT services near me this month. I can go in and do some market research. I can go in and gather the data. Sure, I can do that. But am I really in control of what that number is next month or the next month or 6 months from now or 12 months from now? I'm not in control of that. The only thing that I can control is the activity that I put in. I can't control how many people are searching for me. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to build lists that are built around industry. So a target industry. This is searching for industries that have a problem to be solved, right? So I'm going to go for the path of least resistance. I'm going to look at companies or industries that are already risk averse. So I'm going to be looking at companies who are already thinking, well, I don't want to play on this gray line of maybe I'll be fine, maybe I won't. So I'm going to look at companies in financial services, could be accounting firms, could be lending companies, could be mortgage brokers. I'm going to look at nonprofit organizations because they have grants, they have funding. There are so many grants that are out there actually for nonprofits and techs and their technology and their cybersecurity. So I would go there. I would also, this is actually not on the list, but I would be looking at VC-backed companies, so venture capital-backed companies who are maybe a tech startup or startups who are backed by capital from investors, because whose money's on the line here?
They also have compliance they have to follow now too. Many of these companies now are also FTC safeguards mandated. Everything that you just listed there is actually in. And granted, I know this is in the United States only right now, but most other countries are kind of following suit. But the FTC safeguards, that's your Federal Trade Commission, has put out, and Google this if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's FTC, Frank, Tom, Charlie, safeguards. And it basically gives them a path that they have to start following. And now the insurance companies are following suit. Basically, if you're not compliant with FTC safeguards, we're going to immediately deny your claim. That's the stuff that's starting to happen, guys. It's a big deal.
Yep. Awesome. I just checked over in the chat, Chris. John said that I'm garbled. Can you not hear me? Is my sound okay?
You've been totally fine to me. I think, the challenge of doing these, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we're broadcasting this on the internet. So a challenge, okay. You see the look on her face right there? The challenge sometimes is just like bandwidth issues and various other stuff, but you've been perfectly good to me.
Okay, good. Just making sure. I can move the mic if I need to.
And you can see Hunter said you're fine.
Okay, thank you, Hunter. Okay, so we want to go by industry. So what I would like for all of you to do here that are live with us, I want you to tell me in the chat, who is an industry that you are already servicing? Who's an industry that you're already servicing that's going to be risk averse? They're going to be bound by compliance, or they are operating with other people's money. Okay, so think about your CPA firm.
I really like that OPM thing, that other people's money thing, right? Some of mine, Lindsay, when I had my MSP, some of mine that were my favorites, just so you guys know. Didn't really work with many CPA firms. So I didn't have many of those, but those are big there. For me, I really liked wealth management, for privately owned wealth management. In fact, I was up in Wisconsin this past weekend, drove out to my parents' house. The company that one of our big companies, had a big billboard out moving, going down towards my parents' house. So I saw their billboard on Thursday and Friday. So I really liked privately owned wealth management firms. I really liked elderly care facilities. I really liked them. And I really liked nonprofits. Those all three worked really, really well.
I like that.
Got a couple coming in on here. So guys, those are something to think about. Those are all three mandated now by compliance in 2024. They're all compliance mandated, from FTC safeguards to Securities and Exchange Commission. And the way their broker dealers work, they're all mandated now.
Yeah.
So got some good ones here.
Awesome. Yep. So I see real estate over here. Awesome. I see local government, huge opportunity in local government and municipalities. That one's also one of the, I don't know how to say easiest, but you're going to have a plethora of information and resources and sources to kind of back your play on that, because municipalities are hit every single day. Water supply, grids, like all of these things are hit constantly. And that takes an entire city out. So I think that's a great play. Shipping and logistics, same thing. Shipping and logistics, that's literally running our economy. That runs everything, right? That runs the world. So what happens when someone's truck or whenever their logistics system or their tracking system is taken out? They're locked out of their computers. They can't contact their drivers. Their manufacturers are disconnected. I mean, this literally breaks the business. So huge opportunity there. Nonprofits, home health care. Yep, beautiful. Finance companies, awesome. Every single one of these, all of these right here in the chat are great. So yes. Okay, so next thing I want to look at. So here's the thing. pick a target market. Don't overthink it. Pick it and run with it. This does not lock you into this target market forever, but we have to have focus, okay? Because when you're going to see this in the next few steps, when we start marketing and when we start building the campaign, we want it to be as hyper targeted as possible, because the more specific that you get, the more it will sell. Specificity sells. Everyone say it with me. Specificity sells. And if I can speak to specific problems and specific markets, then I'm going to have a higher chance of turning on that risk light bulb. Okay. So industry is the first thing I'm going to look at. Second thing I'm going to look at is number of seats or users, which is typically going to translate into employees. So when I go to build a list, and I'm going to show you a few list builders here, I'm going to look at number of employees. So if I think about, and kind of like common sense here, the more employees that a company has, the more seats that there are equals the more monthly recurring revenue. So yes, small 1 to 3 to 5 seat companies have to be secured. Yes. But is that where I would devote most of my resources? Is that where I would devote my time to making outbound calls, to doing outbound marketing, to actually targeting and canvassing those companies? No, I'm going to be looking at higher seats. I'm going to be looking at 20-seat companies, 50-seat companies, 10-seat companies minimum, because then I'm going to make sure I'm hitting what we call our get out of bed number, which you'd learn about this in sales onboarding. But this is the number that at minimum, here's what's gonna make me get out of bed in the morning. So at minimum, I want my clients to pay me at least $2,500. So that would mean I would need a 10-seat company at $250 per seat to hit that get out of bed number. Okay, so common sense here, the higher number of seats I have, the higher monthly recurring revenue. You can take smaller companies. That's not where I would focus my energy on my outbound marketing.
Now, something that I want to reiterate there, Lindsay just said, you can take smaller companies, but as you work on your outbound, as you work on who you want to go after the bigger fish. This is a really important mindset. Like if somebody comes to you, sure, we'll work with you. Okay, fine. What's your get out of bed number for them? Most of our clients are $1,000 to $1,500, even on 1 to 2 person shops, guys. This is a mindset of changing your focus as opposed to going after tiny companies that you feel you can sell more comfortably to actually having a sales process that works across the board and scales up. So we can start going after the people that are our ideal clients. And then if some smaller ones come in the door, great, but it's not who we focus on. It's really important to think about that and think that way.
Yeah, you just said a whole word there. Sometimes it's comfortable to sell to the smaller companies instead of having the sales process that we can actually scale up. That was beautifully said.
Yeah, and this whole thing, for the record, I believe the largest deal that we've seen sold with the 7-figure MSP sales process is about $85,000 a month for a large company. So this works. Big MSPs, big deals, massive deals. We've sold CSRAs. We've watched this deal go $1 million yearly deals just on one client. Mm-hmm. This stuff works across the board, guys. Big, small, any country, any market. It works everywhere. And we got a guy we're gonna be in Montreal and Ottawa next week. We got a guy coming in that's from New Brunswick. That's $105K a month, averaging $285 a seat Canadian. So this works in every market, guys.
Yeah, love it. All right, so next piece here, again, annual revenue. This just kind of goes along with this. So we want to make sure that we are looking at companies who are making money, right? Again, common sense. It's like if they can't keep the lights on, if they're like a startup, I don't know, like selling Mary Kay, they're probably not your ideal client, right? Like, and you're going to sometimes find that in your chamber meetings or in your community networking groups. And we have like an entire training about this, but sometimes in those networking groups, they may not be your ideal clients, but they will have connection to your ideal clients. Okay. So just think about how, if you're already in some of these groups, get creative with who you need to know inside of those groups, who has connections to the people that you need to be connected to. And you can kind of shift that, because we want to make sure that we're targeting companies that have the budget, the need, and the growth mindset. So my recommended minimum is 1 million in annual gross revenue. Actually, I think as times have changed here, I would up this to 2.5 million in annual revenue. So I would probably up that to 2.5 million.
It's easy to go. You can always go down, guys. It's really easy to find smaller companies. Honestly, like they're in the woodwork. They're all over the place, but it's much harder to get bigger companies that you want to work with. So I really recommend focusing on a niche. Just start there. You can always scale up. You can always expand. Focus on one. Even if it's like one that you're just really comfortable with, it's fine. Like I really liked, you heard mine, literally in 2008, we made the decision that we are going to attack elderly care facilities, wealth management firms, and nonprofits. And we had nonprofit summits and like all the stuff that we did. And it became like my big, so kind of what you focus on is what you start getting, right?
Yeah. Yep. And if you even think about the old adage that says, if for every employee, I want to have 250,000 in annual revenue. So do the math on that. Okay. If I'm looking at a minimum of 10 seats or a minimum of 10 employees. So if I've got 10 employees right here, 10 seats, I want a minimum of 250,000. That's just like a business rule. So 250,000 in annual revenue per employee equals 2.5 million. So I'd be looking for companies that are 2.5 million in revenue, 10 seats, industry specific. And the last piece here is geography. So what city, what area, what state are you servicing? Again, this does not lock you into this area forever, but we have to have focus. So whenever you're running your campaigns, such as your why you need a cybersecurity risk assessment campaign or your cybersecurity briefing campaign, we're going to be talking about stories and relevant incidents that actually matter. So I live in North Florida. So if I were an MSP and I was going to go run this play, I'm going to go talk to I'm going to go talk to CPAs, a minimum of 10 employees, so bigger firms in the North Florida area, having 10 million in revenue. That's who I would target. It's very specific. And then I can tie in stories, incidents, etc., that specifically relate to them. Okay. So tell me in the chat. Who would your target market be based on what we just went through? Industry, you've already told me that. Number of seats or number of employees, minimum annual revenue, and geographic location. Who would your target market be, or who is it right now? Okay. While you do that, I'm going to walk through a couple of our favorite list building tools. So Apollo, Instantly, Seamless, and coming soon, Clean Leads. So Apollo, Instantly, Seamless, Sales Navigator is actually another one on here. And they all kind of do the same thing, but you just have to pick one, right? You just have to pick a tool. You go in, you enter in this criteria right here. And a lot of these will actually let you filter down through buying intent. So it will actually show you companies that have searched for keywords such as technology, IT, cybersecurity, training, FTC compliance, these types of things. It will show you their buyer's intent. Then you can focus your outbound marketing efforts on the ones that are actually looking to buy, or they did something that triggered a higher level of buying intent. Okay. So again, the key here is to pick a tool and then run with it. And you actually saw here that I plugged in Clean Leads. Chris, this is our first time ever putting this in here, but Clean Leads is the software that we're actually releasing here very soon that will allow you to build targeted lists backed by artificial intelligence, backed by AI. So it's already been verified. It's already been cleaned. It's already been scraped from the interwebs, and it's real-time clean data that you can then put your sales team on to go out and market to.
Yeah, this is our little SaaS startup that we're doing based on our own needs. And then it's something that our members get to participate in and have as part of their suite also. It's kind of cool.
Yep, absolutely. So the big thing here is all of these work. Okay. All the platforms work. Do you, right? Can you just go build the list? It'll take you about 20 minutes to go build a list, if that. And here's an actual real screen grab from building a list in Apollo. So everything that you just told me over here in the chat, I see, your target market, I see minimum revenue, seats, all these things. We just want to go enter those things into our list building platform. So job title, location, number of employee, industry. And then if you were able to scroll down, you'd actually see annual revenue as well in there. And then that's how you're going to pull this list. So you can see here on this list, we've got 749 contacts. In an ideal world, I would want a list that has at least 1,000 leads on it. So I would be looking for 1,000 to 2,500 leads on that list. then I could go put my sales team on it or my outbound marketing team on it. And that's who we're going to call, email, add on LinkedIn, target, Canvas. And that would be a really solid starting point. Okay. So let's do the math really quick. Oh, wrong direction. At a 10% close ratio. Okay. Let's just put this into perspective. Let's say that you want to go close a deal per month. Okay. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to go close a deal per month. I think all of us do, right? At least. And I have no doubt that every single one of you in this room could go and close a deal per month. Now, how do we back ourselves into that goal? I'm a huge, Chris, you know this, I'm a huge fan of backing myself into a goal. If I have a goal, I will literally break down the math and I will figure out exactly how I can go do that. Now, does anything ever go exactly to plan? No, but at least I've created a realistic way for me to get there. Okay. So if I want to close a deal per month, what I have to do is start out and say, well, everyone can have a 10% close ratio. Everyone can. So if I go have 100 conversations, that means I have 100 outbound conversations. I've got 100 outbound or 100 webinar registrants, 100 people that I exchange conversation with at a networking event. If I go get 100 of them, I book 10 first-time appointments. Okay. Out of those 10 first-time appointments, 2 to 3 of those are going to go to a cybersecurity risk assessment. And then out of those 2 to 3, 1 of those are going to close in that same sales cycle. Okay. That's the math that I see over and over and over again inside of our industry. Okay. Now, one of those other CSRAs will close later because some of us just have a longer sales cycle. That's okay. One of those are going to say, no, thanks. I'm going to stick with the cheaper guy. Don't worry about it. That's fine. That's not our ideal client anyways. Okay. So put that into perspective. If I want to go close a deal per month, I need 10 first-time appointments. I need to have 10 calls on my calendar every single month. And that means I need to be having 100 conversations. I got to have 100 incoming leads or 100 incoming conversations every single month. That's going to back me into that goal. Okay. And don't let this scare you. This could be meeting 100 people in a networking event. If you go to 3 networking events, you're going to knock that out in 2 weeks. No big deal. All right. So again, you can kind of see it broken down here. 10 FTAs, 5 discovery calls, 3 CSRAs, 1 close now, 1 close later. Okay. So let's take some action.
Hey, really quick. Let's back up. And I just want you guys to think about this. Think about how active you are as an MSP now and what your sales cycle or even your sales pipeline looks like. Most MSPs grow by accident, which means you sit around and you wait for somebody to call you and you're like, oh, great, we got a lead. This becomes purposeful. When we talk about outbound and inbound, we talk about these different various scenarios. Outbound, and I'll give you a great example. I literally just sitting here, I had stats come in from our sales team. Like there's stuff coming in right now from our lead machine team. Here's this is like literally came in. I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys so you can see this. And then I'm going to put it on screen. Let me just put this out here. This came in directly from our sales team, literally right now, as I was sitting here. End of day KPIs from Joe, one of our outbound setters. This is our Facebook group, new members 54 for today. Now, granted, that covered the weekend because today's a Monday. New content leads 5, reach outs 108, conversations 47, call offers 9. So that's his. And we got, keep on, I got 9 people on our sales team. So that's the amount of effort that we're putting in here at 7-Figure MSP on a Monday.
Yeah, love it.
There's 4 of those guys. And I want you guys to understand this becomes very purposeful is my point.
I want to toot my mastermind group over here. I want to toot their horn a little bit because we have the same system set up, Chris. You're going to love this. So every afternoon, we also get their numbers coming in. So same way, this is how tightly we track these numbers. Sarah with M3 Network said outbound calls made, 43. Outbound calls accepted, which is conversations, 12. Outbound LinkedIn connection requests, 48. First-time appointments pitched, 10. First-time appointments booked, 1. So again, this directly lines up with these numbers over here. It's a 10% booking rate and then 2 webinar registrants. So every single day, these numbers are being reported. This is how they're controlling their results. So same thing. I want you guys to start thinking about, okay, I can't just wait on the referrals or wait on the Google searches or wait until someone calls me. I got to get in control of this. And that's how we get there. Maybe you don't see these numbers to start with, but how can you get there if you don't ever start? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to make sure that you have a target market for the next 6 months. And we got to lock it in and say, okay, here's who I'm going to target. Not all small business owners, not whoever I get referred, not whoever's going to pay me. have a target market, have some focus, then we can go out and we can actually start building those lists and canvassing that market. If you follow this QR code and follow this link, this will take you to two things. This is going to give you a full overview of the 7 steps of, hey, how do we run this process? It's also going to let you do a little bit more work around getting your messaging clear, because I get it. If some of us are moving from this model of the IT shop or the computer guys or the tech squad or whatever, and then we're moving into the cybersecurity first approach where everyone moves to that cybersecurity risk assessment, like Chris mentioned earlier, then we got to do some messaging work. Okay, we got to work on our marketing message there, and this handout's actually going to help you do that. Okay, so remember, start working your target audience now, because we're going to have to shift messaging, work on it, improve it. Then in 3 to 6 months from now, then we can say, all right, well, I would like to swap from CPAs to wealth management, or I'd like to go from manufacturing to tech startups or whatever. Once we can take our data, we can say if it worked or if it didn't, and if we want to double down, or do we need to change gears? Okay. And just let me know if you guys have trouble grabbing this link, and we'll get it sent to you. Okay, so now that we've built the list, we got our target market, we go build the list. What do we do with that list? Do I want to just start calling them up and saying, hello, Mr. CPA business owner, would you like to purchase a cybersecurity risk assessment from me? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. Yes or no? Do I want to do that? All right, I'm going to give you a cheat code. No, we do not want to do that. We don't want to do that. Instead, we have to make sure that we are leading them through a process that builds trust and, again, turns on the risk light bulb. Okay, I feel like I've seen it all by this point. I have literally seen MSPs call people and say, hey, we found your information on the dark web. You got to have a meeting to get it from us. Okay, and it sounds, in theory, it sounds really great. It's like, oh, yeah, that gets people on the phone with me. What happens? Those people are going to come into that call and they are ticked. They are mad, and they say, well, if you found my information, why don't you take it down? You're holding it hostage for me? They come in with a lot of resistance. That is not how I want to lead building relationships with these people that I've just generated this list with. Because again, these are people, these are real humans. So instead, what I want to do is I want to make sure, and here's the visual that I was talking about earlier. I want to make sure that I have a true nurture process that builds trust, pre-qualifies my leads, and increases our close rates. So that once I've nurtured them, and you actually just heard me kind of go through those stats there, once I bring them into a webinar or into a briefing or into a summit, into an event where I'm able to nurture them, then I move them into that first time appointment. That's that 15-minute phone call where I'm just getting to know you. Can I even see myself working with you? Can I stand the sound of your voice? Would this even possibly be a remote fit? Then I move them into a discovery call. This is where we take more, we're actually doing discovery. This is where I'm asking them deeper questions. What are your business goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? What type of cybersecurity insurance do you have? I'm asking these deeper questions. When was the last CSRA that you had? I'm asking these kind of discovery questions. Then I pitch the cybersecurity risk assessment. Then I say, hey, based on what we found, our very first step to securing you is to assess your vulnerabilities. We're going to do that through our cybersecurity risk assessment. This process typically takes 30 days. And then I walk them through that process. They pay me for that CSRA because, yes, the CSRA is a paid product. I get buy-in from the beginning. So I get paid for the CSRA. I go and do the work. I come back. I present my findings. Then that's how I close them as a client. That's how I say, okay, great. Based on what we found, here is our proposed plan of action. That's going to be, $14,000 a month based on your number of employees, et cetera, based on your vulnerabilities. Boom, we close the client. Okay, so that's just an example. But this is the rinse and repeat sales process. So note over here, I'm not taking someone from a cold lead straight to a cybersecurity risk assessment. Whenever I am making those calls, so again, those stats, there's no stat reported that says 48 conversations had and 4 CSRAs sold. I'm not selling anyone a CSRA in my first touch point. I'm taking them through a very strategic nurture process that nurtures them, okay, that builds trust, gets buy-in, turns on light bulb. Then I move them into the CSRA after the FTA, after the discovery call. Okay, very, very important that we do not skip steps. Okay. Now, I'm curious. I do want to know in the chat, is this something that you're already doing? Are you already running a process that looks like this? Are you doing something similar to this? Or are you, when you talk to a new lead, you're already giving them quotes? I actually saw someone in the chat ask earlier, do you give them the quote on the first call? Or do you tell them the price on the first call on that first time appointment? No, we do not give any prices on the first time appointment because I have not assessed their risk yet. I don't know what they're dealing with. I don't know what kind of compliance they're bound to. I don't know what their current IT department's doing. I don't know if they've already got something going on inside their network. I've not done any of that assessment yet to give them a price. So that would not come until after that CSRA.
Now, one thing I will say on that, if you're trying to qualify them out the door,
yep,
and maybe you're going to use that as a get out of bed number qualifier, then maybe. But otherwise, I would stay with the process and run the play.
Yeah, and I think until we have too many leads that we don't know what to do with, don't do that. So what I would do instead, what you could say is, hey, just to let you know, we're not the cheapest guys in town. We pride ourselves on the quality level of work and protection that we offer to our clients. That's what I would lead with. Okay. And I don't have to give prices because I can't give you a price. I have not assessed your risk yet. Okay. So I see that some folks are running a similar process. Awesome. Yeah, I love that, Edward. Totally agree. Building trust is key. Eric said everything but the CSRA. The CSRA will change the game for you. Yes, but it's not as refined. Love it. Doing something almost similar. I'm not good at sales. I used to sell people stretching the truth, and I cannot do that. No, I totally agree, Patrick. We are not lying. We're not being deceptive, but it would be a disservice if you did not show people their risk. If we just keep living in la land, doing things the same way that we did them 10 years ago, that's a disservice. And at the end of the day, if and when something happens, not if they're breached, but when they're breached, who are they going to look to and say, what? I thought you had me covered. What? I thought you're already doing this stuff. Okay. They're already thinking that we're doing these things. So it's our turn to go back and have these really tough conversations with them. Okay. Awesome. So thank you all for your feedback. That helps us as we go through this content. All right. So how do we do this? We want to make sure that we run an inbound and outbound marketing system that is educating our prospects, that's building a brand based on authority and credibility, not stretching the truth, not selling out of fear, not trying to back them into a corner by telling them that we have their information off the dark web. They got to pay us to get it. That's gross. We're not going to do that. We're going to make sure that we're weeding out the not a fit prospects. We're helping our sales team because we're getting in more qualified leads, and you might be the marketing and the salesperson right now. That's okay. But we want to make this easier on you because whenever you get in qualified prospects, and we actually have our webinar number 3 that talks about getting more qualified prospects. But when you have top-notch qualified prospects, guess what? Your close rate is going to be way higher. Okay. That's how you're going to get to that 66% close rate. Out of those 3 CSRAs that you present, you're going to get 2 of them that close in the first 1 to 2 sales cycles because they're qualified, because you've already nurtured them. You've already done all this stuff in the front-facing side of your marketing, your sales system, before you ever even try to close that client. Okay, we're going to remove the "we can find it cheaper" objection, and I should have this in like big letters and big bold letters. It's scalable. Okay, you can build a team that can run this process over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, and we're going to cover that a ton in our next webinar. So our second webinar of the series is all around an outbound calling system, and it's going to help you train your team on this, get them to report their metrics, how to rinse and repeat this, the talk tracks to use, all those things. That's going to help you at first, but also help train your team on this. Okay. Now, this is going to look like a lot, but this is our recommended inbound and outbound marketing plan. Now, if you looked at this list, actually, I'm going to take it away for a second. If you looked at that graph and you said, Lindsay, I only have time to do one thing. If you said, Lindsay, one, that's it. I only can pick one. The number one thing that I would tell you to start and focus on is in that daily activity, right over here on the left-hand side, daily activity. We're going to make 50 calls a day minimum, and I'm going to drive leads to my weekly webinar or my weekly event or my monthly webinar every single day. If I had nothing, if I couldn't do anything else on here, this is what I would be doing. I'd be picking up the phone and I'm going to call 50 people a day, and I'm going to drive them into my Why You Need a CSRA webinar. I'm going to drive them into my cybersecurity briefing. That's what I'm going to do every single day. I'm going to block out an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, and this is the one thing I'm going to do. Why is that? This is the one thing that I can control. I cannot control how many people see my social media content. On average, only 1% of your audience sees your social content. So I would rather have 50% pickup rate, 50% answer rate than a 1% visibility rate. Wouldn't you? Right? Let the numbers do the talking. Daily cold email outreach, that's great. But again, only 1 to 2% open rate, or 1 to 2% click-through rates. Maybe a 20% open rate if you're lucky, if you're really good at subject lines. Again, I'm going to go where the numbers are higher. So I get a 50% conversation rate. I can control how many calls I make in a day. That's where I'm going to start. Okay. Weekly, we've got our cybersecurity briefings, live streams. We've got some emails going out. I'm attending networking events. Monthly, I've got my Why You Need a CSRA webinar. I've got a newsletter that goes out to our warm leads. We actually provide templates for all of the stuff inside of Marketing Machine, inside of our program. So you get newsletters, you get webinar templates, cybersecurity briefing templates, live stream, content calendar, all these things are in here. But again, if you only could do one thing, this is where I would focus, okay, to get those 10 leads in the door. And you literally just heard me go through the numbers of that. And then quarterly, I'm going to make sure I'm updating or monthly, I've got my webinar, cybersecurity newsletter. Quarterly, I've got target market lists. So I'm updating my list, that list that we just built in the previous section. I'm going through it. I'm making sure that list is still aligned. Do I need to add people to it? Do I need to remove people? I'm going to be hosting an in-person lunch and learn or a business summit, something that's going to bring community leaders together to make sure that I'm continuously positioning my company as the leader in cybersecurity. And I'm going to make sure that I'm doing QBRs, quarterly business reviews, with my existing clients. Okay, because we want to make sure that we are retaining our clients and we're keeping that ongoing relationship with them because, hello, they're the ones that are paying us, right? Very, very important. Okay, anything that you would add here, Chris, to our daily, weekly, quarterly?
I think the big thing is, like you said, just doing something. I think the other thing that's a challenge is I know that almost every MSP owner starts as a tech. So all of this stuff is uncomfortable and all of this stuff is not fun and it's not what you like to do and you don't know what to do. And it's like, you got to start doing something, because sales, lead gen, this is the oxygen your business needs to survive. And if you, the other alternative is being the low price leader. And understand the days of low price leader are absolutely numbered. I know there's guys out there still doing it. I know that there's people still winning deals on being cheap and having no margins. The average MSP is still selling like 10, 12 points, meaning like 10% profit margins on 10% gross profit margins. It's like insane. Like we've seen that. We see competitors that are, some of you guys on this webinar are doing that right now. We push an 80% gross profit margin where we want you to be. And that's how we get to our $300 per seat number. But those days are numbered because compliance is coming. And it's not even so much compliance as it is they're all getting hacked. Like everybody's having issues, and then they're having to deal with picking up the pieces. And because MSPs are allowing this to happen, the insurance companies and the remediation firms are coming directly after the MSPs and their insurance companies. So this is how you get to that path. Like this is where you got to go. So,
yeah. And how hard would you have to work? So if you are the low price leader, you're probably working 10 times harder than you actually have to make the same amount of money. If you just raise your prices, provide top tier service, and then you don't have to work quite as hard. So.
And we're going to do some Q&A in a few minutes, guys. So I'm going to let Lindsay just keep going on. We got a ton of questions to hit inside of the chat. So Lindsay, let's not hit them. Let's just keep going here. And then we'll come get that during Q&A time.
Awesome. All right. So how our clients are getting 10 leads per month. And I'm going to kind of keep drilling on this rinse and repeat sales funnel, and this rinse and repeat sales and marketing cycle. Here's why. Before anyone ever even gets to this part right here. So this is where my sales team picks up. So here's my marketing team. My marketing team is over here working my leads. They're nurturing, they're pushing leads to the FTA. Once that FTA picks up, then they become a sales lead. So let's look at how this all ties in together. So before they hit the sales funnel, we got to build the list of ideal clients. We're going to invite those clients to an educational webinar or to a training, to an event, a neutral landing place, as I like to call it. And we want to deliver the training, build a report, and send those leads to the CSRA. So I'm going to deliver that training, pull them into the FTA discovery, and ultimately all roads are going to lead to that cybersecurity risk assessment. Okay. And I'm going to repeat the process. So no matter if I get 10 people on that webinar or 10 people in that event, 10 people in that opt-in event, it doesn't matter. 100 people, I'm going to go do it again. I'm going to do it every single month or every single week, as much as my team can keep up. That's what I'm going to do. Now, once they enter into that sales portion of our process, once they book that FTA, I have a rinse and repeat sales process. So it goes from FTA, discovery call, CSRA is signed, CSRA is presented. Okay, then what happens? I'm going to take my time. I do not skip steps. So we're going to come back to that question over there about the sales, the closed sales cycle. We're going to talk through that. I do not want to skip steps. I know it may sound sexy to, oh, well, I'll just skip the discovery, or, well, they just seem really interested. I'm just going to skip the CSRA. I'll just give them a quote because I know they want to work with me. We do not skip steps ever. And there is a lot of reason behind that. Okay. And we have zero attachment to the outcome of the results because, hello, I'm rinsing and repeating this stuff. I got more leads where that one came from. So yes, I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm never going to let a lead go without doing what I can. I'm going to control what I can, but I'm also not going to base my entire business on one deal. Okay. Because I have a rinse and repeat process that pulls new leads in. And then again, I have one all-inclusive plan, top-tier services, top-tier prices, which Chris talked about earlier. So here's a couple examples of these events or these opt-in events that our clients are pulling in the leads to. So cybersecurity briefing, this is the once weekly briefing. Why you need a CSRA webinar. This is the group webinar that our clients are run monthly. What your business needs to know about the FTC safeguards. So you can do this for CPAs, auto dealerships, whoever is bound by FTC safeguards. This is another webinar. Okay, so these are all these events, these neutral landing places that you can pull your leads into, build trust, build rapport, then send them to the FTA discovery call, CSRA.
I will tell you guys, Lindsay, back up real quick to that cybersecurity briefing. That thing is blowing the doors off of like stupid right now because it's a massive differentiator. And it's just like a 15 to 30 minute weekly briefing. It's like a little mini, it's like a micro webinar. And you can also repurpose this as content. Like understand this whole thing. Lindsay and I are doing this webinar. We're recording separately because StreamYard has the ability to do separate recordings, and we repurpose the hell out of all this content. So it's all stuff that you can use to differentiate yourself in the community and put out there as social content and all these other things. I mean, obviously you got to build your audience and that stuff too, but this is a huge win across our entire client base.
Yep, absolutely. This briefing is really awesome. We see 50% FTA booking rates off of this. So put that in perspective. If you have 10 people in that weekly briefing with you, 10 community leaders, 10 business owners in that briefing with you, 5 of them, we're seeing literally 50% FTA booking rates. 5 of them are there. 5 of them will go and book a first-time appointment with you. So when's the last time you can say you booked 5 FTAs in 15 minutes, right? This stuff works. Okay. So here's what I want us to do. I'm going to give you a template to our Why You Need a Risk Assessment webinar. That webinar template is built in Canva. It gives you notes. I've got resources. I've got links in there. I've got walkthroughs, all these things in there. All you have to do is go schedule your webinar, put it on the calendar, have your list that you built back in section 2, run that list, push them into that webinar, run the play. That's it. You got the process right here. Okay. Here's your template. Okay. This piece of marketing is a staple piece of marketing. It never goes away. All roads lead to that CSRA. So it doesn't matter what target market you're working, what time of year, what year it is. This piece of marketing never goes away. And you can use the link here, 7figuremsp.link/WINA CSRA Prezzo, or you can scan that code right there. Okay. So let's recap. Again, it's our job to push leads into and through our pipeline every single day. We want to make sure that we are positioning ourselves as the cybersecurity expert. We have to start getting into the rooms with our ideal clients. This is the most accessible piece of marketing that every single one of us can do. You have someone in your community that you, oh my goodness, Charlie. You have someone in your community right now that you can go and ask, hey, do you know someone that I can go in and educate, and we can offer them a training on how to protect their business from hackers? Every single one of us can do that. Okay. I want to build, not buy, targeted lists of ideal clients based on industry, revenue, employees, and location. Nurture, nurture, nurture. Build an outbound and inbound marketing process. And most importantly, do not stop. Don't stop doing this stuff, right? Because if you're not doing this, what else are you doing? What else are we doing? Waiting, sitting and hoping, waiting until things get, our pipeline is so dry that we got to go get a sell tomorrow. Our biggest client leaves us and then we don't know how we're going to make payroll. Don't do that. Okay. Let's build, let's grow. There's millionaires to be made this year. So let's go get it. Okay. You can't get the sell that you didn't ask for.
That's probably the biggest thing that Lindsay just said that I will tell you guys is a massive, massive deal is waiting around. And then all of a sudden your biggest client, your whale, leaves. I did a presentation on this at our live event in Indianapolis about whether people are whalers or not. And it's a big factor. So I want you guys to think about that. While Lindsay's dealing with little Charlie there, I just had people show up here at the house. It's like stuff that happens, guys. It's
Charlie's the dog, not the child, by the way.
Yes, Charlie is the dog. So we got some questions here that are coming in. Eric, and just a little comments. If you guys have questions for me and Lindsay, now's the time to throw it in the chat. I'm going to address some of these things here. Got a really nice comment from Thomas here. Being the low price guy keeps you up at night. 100% agree with that. Here's the other thing I'm going to say, Thomas. It's negligent now because I don't care how good you are as a low price leader. You can't deliver the service you should be. Most low price leaders are in the $20 to $40 per month per user per seat range. You can't deliver what you need to be delivering at that price. I don't care. You should be delivering a pretty good service. Can't do it. Sorry. That's part of the deal. So thank you for that comment. Yeah. Thomas just said, yep. Love it, buddy. Good to see you. From Hilton here. What is the average close sales cycle? I'm going to say anywhere from 50 to 90 days. I was
going to say 30 to 60 on a very like everything's right in line.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Most MSP salespeople / owners. I'm not even going to say salespeople because most MSP salespeople are the owners. They don't have a process and they're rushing it and they're trying to get the deal done in like 15 to 20 days. These deals should be properly managed, properly nurtured, properly sold to. It takes multiple steps. The bigger the client, the deeper this decision process is going to be. So anywhere from 30 to 90 days, somewhere in there, probably average 45 to 50 is what I would say. Would you agree with that, Lindsay?
Yep, totally.
And we're seeing that across the board. This is from Zach. Zach, you've been a great participant today. Thank you for the feedback. Zach just put another thing in here. After thinking further in my initial research, lead generation would filter out the get out of bed price concern. This is another reason why you do that. You know, one of the really nice things about picking a vertical is you can build, like Lindsay mentioned in her slide, hyper targeted lists. So you can be very, very specific on who you're going after. And exactly, if you're targeting clients at 1 million per year or higher, pretty easy to deal with them. Pretty easy to eliminate the crap. Also, depending on the vertical, you think about this. If you're going to choose a bookkeeper, like bookkeepers, well, what are most bookkeepers? Single person shops. Not a great target, not a great niche to go after. But even most wealth managers, most elderly care facilities, most, what was the other one I had in there? Nonprofits, most of them you can, and all that stuff's public. So you can start to really determine where you're at. So I would agree with that, Zach. Zach also threw in another comment here. What are some common reasons someone may not want to get an FTA and how do you overcome them? Lindsay, this is a great question. So I'm going to say thing number one, they're not used to doing business that way. So a lot of this is how you run your process and not taking their crappy answers and not tolerating it. So much of this is the end user is kind of used to doing business a certain way, which has been, you think about the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years of when they've had computers, this is how they did business. We have to teach them the why. So if you teach people the why and let them come to you, I'm going to go back to, let's just look at this really quick. Lindsay's pieces here, the cybersecurity briefing. If you put this out and put this in front of people, they're like, holy crap, I didn't realize this. I'll raise my hand for a meeting. Or maybe You teach them why you need a cybersecurity risk assessment webinar or a live presentation at a chamber or a, whatever. You're educating and educating and educating. Don't try and pitch them. Just educate with abandon. Give away everything you can and make it so they're so educated. They're like, holy crap. Or maybe what your auto dealership, what your CPA firm, what your nonprofit, what your construction company, what your general contractor, like there's all these different verticals that you can choose, needs to know about the FTC safeguards or needs to know about compliance, or here's why you need to add multi-factor to your bank account. So you're creating these wedges in front of people, and then they raise their hand. And here's what I'll tell you about doing these things. They start to raise their hand and you're that much closer down the pipeline with the sales cycle. And they're like, I want to talk. That's an FTA. So you don't call it an FTA. That's what basically they're saying, oh my God, I need this. Let's talk. That's the deal. So you're educating them so much that they're like, oh my God, I don't have this. And they reach out to you. Think about, that's positioning. And that's a big factor. Like, what are we doing on this webinar? We're giving you guys so much content, so much stuff, so much that hey, go do it on your own. If you need help, call me. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. That's positioning. And you're further down the sales cycle because you just spent 2 hours on a webinar with us. Think about it. It's the same thing. And think about how real me and Lindsay are on these calls, right? I like this.
I'll add one more thing there. Yeah, I totally agree.
That's great.
The only thing I would add there, Zach, is why would someone not want to get on an FTA? 2 things, actually. Number one, what we recommend you call, what most of our clients call that publicly. They're not saying, hey, get on a first time appointment with me. They're saying, you can go here to book your cyber strategy session. So that's how we're positioning that public facing. Number 2, why would they not? Well, because they're confused. They don't know why they should. There hasn't been the risk light bulb to come on yet. So if, like Chris said, you are executing with abandon, you are educating with abandon, you're going out, you're delivering value, content, turning on their risk light bulb, why would they not? Why would they not want to extend that conversation with you?
Yeah. So, I mean, the big factor is creating so much desire in the prospect that they're like, whoa, I need to talk to you. It's a totally different animal. Think about the typical MSP sales cycle and what it looks like. How many people are raising their hand and walking up to you and being like, we need to talk because I need what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Almost none. Like that's never happened to most MSPs before. Well, our clients are getting that every single day. They're having people call them and be like, I heard you're the guy. I need to talk to you. Right? That's a big deal.
Yep.
Okay. I really like this from Hilton. Does the vertical really matter for cybersecurity? Why not get an owner to bite? The vertical matters because your messaging has to be identified. Just imagine, so think about what I'm talking to. Our stuff is everything MSP. If I was like just broad everything, the messaging is almost exactly the same, guys. The stuff we're teaching here is the same to plastic surgeons. But by me talking to MSPs and being MSP specific, it resonates with MSPs. I'm not saying only focus your MSP on CPAs. No, your messaging for a specific vertical should be vertical specific. Lindsay, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, totally agree. You can focus on whatever vertical you want, Hilton, and that's why we noted every 3 to 6 months you're going to go back and assess, and you're going to make decisions based on the data. Okay, I targeted wealth management firms for the past 6 months. I get to the end of that 6-month cycle and I say, well, I had a 12% close rate, but hey, I've got a great opportunity over here with manufacturing. Let me shift my target for the next 6 months, and then we'll come back in 6 months and we'll reassess. So it matters, again, because of the messaging, the target, and it gives your team focus. It gives you, your team focus. And then you can always cycle through your top 3 target markets as you see fit.
Yep. Okay, last question I got here. So I want to hit a couple things, but Thomas put in here that 47% of businesses under 50 employees have a $0 IT budget. Of those that do have a budget, 50% are spending more than $1,500 per month. It is a amazing, huge vertical you guys should be targeting. I mean, obviously most MSPs are targeting under 50. So when he says they have a $0 IT budget, that doesn't mean that they don't spend money on IT. That means they don't sit around and say, hey, we need to spend this money on IT and they allocate it. They don't realize what they need to do. So that's a big factor. Second piece of this, Zach's mentioning MSSP. MSSP is going into the mid-market. When I say mid-market, it is, I'd say 100 to 1,000 users. This is the biggest opportunity this industry has ever seen. And it's an industry, it's a market that this MSP industry has never touched before, really, because for the last 15 to 20 years, they've had their own internal IT guys. Well, what do internal IT guys suck at? Security. They're terrible at it. We all know that. And we were their competitors for years. So that market is pretty much untouched. And I'm going to tell you, the 7-figure MSP client, the pretty good side, this is where they're going after, and this is where they're making their heyday. Lindsay, would you agree? Anything you want to add to that?
And that's where the co-managed play comes in. So that's a huge part of what you're going to see opportunity for in the mid-market. This is where you can go in and you can partner with their internal IT. Let them handle the tickets. Let them do all of that work. You can go in and say, hey, I'm here to save the day with cybersecurity. Partner with us. And so now you have a co-managed play and you're running half the work on a 1,000 seat company. I'll take it all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we got any other questions here. I think that's pretty good. We got Zach for the win. All right. Anything else you want to add to that, Lindsay?
No, I think this is really good conversation. And just, again, we'll kind of tie this up or kind of wrap this up. In webinar number 2, we go through cold calling, outbound calling, how to rinse and repeat that actual outbound system. And then in webinar 3, we really tighten up that qualified prospect. So how to make sure I've got qualified prospects, how to make sure I'm getting the right kind of lead in the door. This is very high level strategic stuff. Like, okay, make myself the expert, build the list, build my inbound, outbound team, have a webinar, drive leads to the webinar, send them to the CSRA. That's very high level stuff. And then you start breaking down each area of that. And that's how you start building out process that actually works. Okay. So start here and then we can keep moving forward.
Yeah. And we gave you a ton of free content today. All kinds of good stuff for you guys to grab. You are going to get the replay. Those of you that were on live on the webinar platform with us, you guys will get the replay in the next few hours here. Everybody else that's watching on social, when it stops, just go back and watch the same one. It's going to be there in the same platform. I'm going to talk about a few more things before we get rolling here. Our 7-figure MSP inner circle coaching program. Now, everything we taught you here today, you can do on your own. There's tons of free content for you. You got our run the play worksheet. You got the why you need a cybersecurity assessment presentation. You got other stuff that Lindsay gave you today. You guys can go do that on your own. But I want to give you an example. If you need help, if you feel like you're in a place where I just can't grasp this, or I need accountability, or I need somebody to make sure that I do this, this is what we do. We are also a massive accelerant. So in the first 90 days, we handhold you through our program. That is our 7-figure MSP Inner Circle coaching program. I'm going to give you a great example of what one of our MSPs did. This is a good example of Brian Wooster. Brian is a 4-person MSP in Bakersfield, California. Here's a good example of one of his walkthrough deals in our first batch. As you come in your first batch of clients, we have you go back to your existing client base. We help you go back to existing clients and we run the 7-figure MSP process on them. We call that running the play. In this case, Brian went back to an hourly client, a break fix client, 16 computers signed to a 3-year deal, $2,000 onboarding, $3,500 a month. Here's some stats that he had overall in our program. Now, granted, this is almost a year ago, but it's the same exact play that we're happening all the time. So Brian joined August 24th of 23. First closed deal was within 21 days. 5 presentations in 4 weeks, 4 contracts signed, and a total of 7,800 new MRR. That's great. It's insane stuff that we want you guys to be able to do. And inside of that, and the program that we're talking about is our 7-figure MSP Inner Circle Elite Coaching Program. So I'm going to give you a little details on this. You got full sales and marketing coaching. That is with Chris, Cindy Phillips, and Ryan O'Hara. We go through that entire thing in our Double Your MRR sales system. That's our complete onboarding process. We walk you through, handhold you through your first 3 full deals in our program. That's going to take you anywhere from 30 to 90 days, depending on the size of your MSP, depending on the complexity. But you're running this entire thing with us, holding your hand, working together on this deal. So not only do we do that entire onboarding process live, but then we have weekly sales open office hours and you're working all your deals alone or together. You're never alone is my point. And the whole thing that's really critical about this is you have our entire team basically for as long as you want to have us. We have 4, 5, 6, I think we have 7 calls a week that you get coaching on, and it's all group. Everybody's participating, and we got anywhere from 20 to 100 people on these calls, and it's awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. After you go through your first 90 days, we also have the 7-figure MSP marketing machine. That is with the one, the only Lindsay Badillo. This is her entire program. She's our VP of marketing coaching. So she runs that entire thing. You get her onboarding process live. She runs that every single month. So Lindsay, where are you at right now with that?
We start fresh. We have week 1 kicking off this month.
Oh, that's awesome. So we got week 1 kicking off this month, constantly doing new things and all this. She also has 3 weekly open office hours that run for marketing coaching. That's literally anything you need help with marketing, building, all of these different things. She also has an advanced mastermind called Leads Mastery, where they're actually teaching you how to hire SDRs and all these other, and employ and manage SDRs. That was one of the ones that you were talking about with Jim Richards person, or no, sorry, it was Michael Moore's person.
That was Michael Moore's with M3. So the metrics that I pulled up, that's our mastermind group that reports their numbers. So that's the team in there that they're now rinsing and repeating, and they're scaling by hiring out team to do these things for them.
So instead of hiring an agency, you're building that out internally, which I will tell you is the way to go. We've built that out internally. We have mostly, I'll tell you this, we have mostly contractor employees internally. So they're actually international, multiple guys in Canada, a couple guys in Europe working for our team, and they're all contractors, but they are working for us full-time, running our process and our play, and we are managing them top to bottom inside of our program. So we teach you guys how to do the same thing inside of Marketing Machine and Leads Mastery as well. Also included in the program. So we got, those are the coaching sides, all that stuff, all the time, always available, all included. We also have all these proposal, presentation, and agreement templates. So you get our full sales PowerPoint, top to bottom. This is updated quarterly and always available, full white label. You get our full sales proposal template. So the top one is our PowerPoint. The second one is a Word doc. You can then put this into whatever software you want to use. We are a vendor agnostic program. So we don't care who you use. We don't care if you're with, whatever, doesn't matter. I don't care what RMM you have, what PSA you have, what SOC you have. We work and we apply across all of them with the entire MSP industry. We don't care what country you're in. You also get our full risk acceptance letter. Basically, you have a client that you go run the play on, and they're like, no, we're good. And I'm going to tell you, I recommend 100% of your prospects and your existing clients get pitched the same way. Not everybody's going to say yes. You're probably going to have between a 50 and 60% close rate. So that means you're going to have between 40 and 50% that are like, no, we're good. It's going to take them a little bit of time. Remember, they're used to doing business the old way, but we still establish the path and the pattern of support, meaning we told you you needed more. We told you that here's what's going to happen when you have a breach, and here's the letter that states what our policy is. That's what that risk acceptance letter template is. It's very, very powerful for existing clients, both fully managed and break fix. It matters. We also have our full MSA template and statement of work template included. Our full cybersecurity incident response plan included. Full discounted access to the Ultimate MSP contract kit. So you get 50% off that full kit that attorney Liz Pifko worked on and built with us. You also, we just added this last quarter. We added our general counsel, Paige Taylor, is on our system every single Monday at 2 p.m. Central. It was right before this webinar today. She has a weekly legal advice call that she runs as part of our program. That's another value add. We also have all this process structure and tools. So our full risk assessment system, we teach you how to do the CSRAs. We provide some tools, but also provide you discounts across multiple other tools as well. If you want to use that, you can also use whatever you got, and we'll help you fine tune it with our process. We also teach you how to hire the right people, the right techs, the right staff, all that included with the hiring machine. You also get our full CRM, WiseTrack CRM, with training and coaching, and our entire support department included, 100 plus marketing campaigns. And you get, Lindsay mentioned clean leads earlier, get 400 clean leads per month and a 52-week nurture email campaign and MSP website included with the program. So all literally turnkey for you guys. This is an amazing, amazing program. I'm super proud of it and I love it. So Chris, what's the next step? You guys saw all the stuff that's included. Here's what we got here. We got all these different things, from agreement templates to marketing tools to sales up and office hours, our content, our Q&A calls, all these different things. Total value just over $18,000 per month. So massive opportunity for you guys. My special offer for you today is 12 months of our elite coaching program for only $2,000 per month. You have to mention this webinar to get that deal. I do have a fast action bonus for you. If you book your call, you got to book your call in the next, let's see, it's 5:16. You see, you got to book it by 7 Central. So in the next, what is that? 74 minutes. You got to book your call. Oh, sorry, 84 minutes. I'm bad at math. No, 74 minutes. I'm bad at math. So you guys got to deal with that. Here's your fast action bonus. If you book your call right now, and we'll be tracking this because Jose and the team watch this stuff, I will take off $250 per month, and it'll be $1,750 per month. But you got to book your call. Lindsay's going to throw that.
Book your call right now. Just book your call now. Why wait 70 minutes? Do it right now.
100% agree with that. Lindsay's going to throw that URL in the chat for us. As soon as we're done here, Lindsay, I'll have it up on the screen if you can type that in after the guarantees here. But Chris, I don't know if this program will work. I'm nervous to commit. I think it's a scam, blah, blah, blah. Is there a guarantee? I got a couple of guarantees for you guys just to show you how serious I am about it. Number one, I have a 90-day completely free 90-day money-back guarantee if you participate in the work. Now, here's what I will tell you. If you come into the program and you're like, oh, I'm going to download all the Wiser stuff and leave, it's not going to fly. You have to sign an agreement before you even get access and all these different things. But if you come into the program and do the work, here's what I will tell you. This program, I've definitely had people that have not seen success in the program. Never going to say that. No different than every trainer has had a client that didn't hit their best opportunity. But what's the differentiator? Does the trainer not work or does the person not work? The person usually doesn't work. So if you come in the program and do the work for all the 90 days and you're like, I'll see no ROI, it's not worth it, it won't work in my market, I will give you your money back 100% in full. This has never been requested in almost 5 years. It's real. This works. This program really, really, really works, and it's key. So much that I added a second guarantee. If you participate in all the work, again, key with that, and you don't make at least your initial investment in additional MRR. So, for example, you're going to pay $1,750 if you sign up for today, $1,750 a month. I will give you, if you don't see at least your new revenue equaling your monthly spend, I'll write you a check for $1,750. It's like a no-brainer, guys. You should see this out of the box and you will have no problems. Everybody that joins the program and does the work sees the wins. It's that simple. Here's where you can book your call. Lindsay's going to throw that in the chat for you guys as well. You can book your call here. We got JJ that you guys get to work with. If you have to have me on the call, I'll come on the calls and talk to you too, but you just got to request it ahead of time and I'll come talk to you as well. But you better be ready to commit. That's my only rule. Okay, Lindsay, get that in the chat for me. She's got that. Thanks, guys. For you guys that are online, that's how you can book that. We got like 7 URLs popping up right here. We'll leave that going for a little bit here. Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. We got our prizes coming up here. Here's what we're going to do for prizes. We got a massive crowd still with us. It's good to see you guys. Thank you so much for spending literally 2 hours of your day with us. Went a little bit long today, but Chris and Lindsay like to talk. It's kind of part of the deal. Here's what we're going to do. And thank you, Zach, by the way. That's very nice. We are pretty real people. That's the deal. What is one thing, Lindsay mentioned this earlier, we're going to pick 2 winners from this. What is one thing that is going to be your actionable for today? What did you learn today that you can go and put into your business? I want you to put that in the chat.
What are you going to go do? What are you going to go do?
I'm going to put this in the chat.
Are you going to go back to your team and talk about, hey, we're going to make a plan for increasing our prices to having this all-inclusive top-tier stack for our clients? Beautiful. Love the timer. Are we going to go find who are our top 3 clients that we want to go have this conversation with? Are we going to download that resource that Chris gave us, the Run the Play workshop? What are we going to do?
You know what? I figured out my button on the side of my mouse must not be working right because it's like going so fast.
Huh.
User error is what it's called.
Zach, I also really like Zach's feedback that he came into this a little bit skeptical. Most people do, actually, is what I've found. Most people come into our world a little bit skeptical, and then they realize, oh, this is actually legit. Like, this is real valuable stuff that we're teaching, and it works. So
some people say they don't like bald. They're scared of bald guys, though. So sorry, guys.
Good thing you got me here.
Kind of look like a bald guy. Not gonna say.
Exit. Ejecto. Let's kick him out of the room.
Here, I'll kick her. Here, Lindsay's out. Gone. She's out of here. I'll bring you back.
Oh no, where did Chris go?
You're no fun. From Edward, send 3 asks to orgs in our community. I like that one a lot. Good job on listening, Edward. Here is from Christina. First, I'm grateful for the awesome presentation. Normally, we don't get a chance to commend you, but I like the chemistry between the two of you while presenting. It's like you both just mastered this. Yeah, we work a lot together, and Lindsay is our MC at our live events too. So we have a lot of stage time, and then we do our road shows together too. So it's actually a lot of fun. We've become very good friends, and it's kind of cool. Like we work together, but it's fun. And I own the company, but she's actually my boss.
Now that you finally admitted that.
Never saying that out loud again.
It's recorded.
I like that, Nathan.
Soundbite that one.
Yeah. Thanks, Nathan, on that one. Here's one from Christina. My biggest take is that I will build hyper-targeted lists. So here's our timer going off here, guys. That's because Chris is too busy talking. Hyper-targeted lists by specifically focusing on industries that have a problem to be solved. Really well done, Christina. I like that one. I might be giving that one a prize. This is from James. Always offer the best MSP solutions. Good job. Somebody's actually listening to me. Thank you, James.
We got this 5 days alcohol free. Good job, James. That's awesome. Hey, so what I did, so I'm actually just quick fact. This is off topic a little bit, but I downloaded a counter app, and it's actually it's kind of like if you're an overachiever at all, you like to keep track of the stuff. So I'm counting alcohol free, sugar free, how many days I'm sugar free, 30 minutes of movement a day, and 7 hours of sleep. So there's my 4 priorities. The one that has the longest track record right now is the alcohol free one. So get a counter app, keep up with it. It's really motivating.
I like that as well. Big fan. This is from Ian. Something that didn't look crucial to me before were cold leads. I will never give up on sending cold leads, since at times they may be the only lead to potential clients. I'll be sure not to copy paste. Yeah, just be careful on that. Couple rules on that. Depending on the locale you're in, you got to be careful. So it's really important to have something that's a deliverable that they really, really want. Not just call and be like, hey, you want an IT guy? Or, hey, what are you doing for IT support? Actually have something of value. Maybe a lunch and learn, maybe an event where you're like, and one of the things that we do, to give you an idea, we do, when we do our road shows, we do them at a steakhouse, usually. Most or Topgolf, and it's totally free, and it's good attendance, and we got a lot of stuff that goes on, and people like to get away and have a steak lunch. Like, it's very attractive. So we're doing that in Ottawa. I think we're doing Fleming's, or is it Roots Chris? We're doing something.
I think it's Roots Chris. I don't know. Maria organizes.
We're doing a steak. We're doing a steak. Lindsay and I just show up and do what we're told. But we're doing a steak. We usually do steakhouses, or something has real value to them, not to you. Keep that in mind. So really key.
Just read the last part on that also, Chris.
I don't.
I light up the session alongside you.
Kicking Ian out of here too. Get out of here, man. Not cool. It's from Darnell. I'm going to leverage the list builders to leverage AI and start farming my target verticals. I love it. Bald guys rock. Let's go, buddy. Let's go, buddy.
Bald guys with beards.
Love it. Lydia said, I will build a list of ideal clients, invite them to educational trainings and deliver it, build rapport and send leads, blah, blah, blah. Love that. From Zach here as well. Yes, Zach, thank you. Because my website sucks. I really don't even care.
We even have a website?
I mean, not really. We got a funnel. We got a landing page.
Well, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. CSRA. Here's from Pauline. We've got a couple more left here. Great guys. Learn 3 strategies to use. Awesome. Thanks, Pauline. That's cool. From Nathan. Here's Monica. Hilton. All right. You guys are awesome. Okay. So, Lindsay, we're going to do a drum roll. I want you to pick your $75 award winner. What do you got?
Ready? I close my eyes. So I legit do this randomly. Close my eyes and I pick a winner. So here we go.
Okay. Did you say winner or wiener?
Winner. It's a winner. There will be no winner.
If you guys don't know, if you guys haven't figured this out, I am a child.
Children, exit. All right, drum roll, and I'm going to choose someone. All right, where's my drum roll, Chris?
I already did it.
You drum roll. All right, ready, set, okay. All right, so I have Lydia Hilton. I will build a list of ideal clients. Beautiful.
Okay, so Lydia, congratulations. You have won a $75 tremendous.com gift card. Please do me a favor. Here's my only caveat on these prizes, guys. you have to actually be at an MSP. We've had some infiltration from bots and scammers lately. So you have to provide your MSP email address in the webinar chat. And if you have to be a webinar viewer to get this, meaning you have to have registered on StreamYard and you have to be here live with us. So please put your MSP email address in the chat and we will get that for you. Next winner, Lindsay, we have.
Wait, what did you say? Next what?
Wiener.
All right, ready?
You're as bad of a child as I am, for the record. Lydia, please put your MSP email address in the chat because I want to make sure you get your gift. Okay. Next one is our $100 gift card winner. Thank you. We got it. There's Lydia. Thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Lydia.
Next winner we have Lindsay. Go ahead and pick your $100 winner. I would like this to be the best answer, not just random bullshit here.
What? The best answer? Okay, you pick that because no, I don't want that pressure.
Okay. I'm picking one. I'm actually going Mr. Zach K.
Ooh.
Zach, you've been very participating today. You've been very active. I appreciate it. That means a lot to me when we have good, solid guests. So Zach, you have won the $100 gift card today. I don't know who you are, but do me a favor and put your MSP email in the chat. I know you're an MSSP, so I'm very proud of you for being here today and very proud of you for opening your mind because this stuff's important to do and the MSP industry is very much evolving. Okay. So Zach, do me a favor. Please put your email in the chat from your MSP and we will send you a $100 tremendous.com gift card. So do that. And then I'm going to thank everybody else that was here. Great job today. Thank you so much, Lindsay. You are amazing. And it's always a pleasure to do these. I will be back I think it's in 2 weeks with the ever ravishing Cindy Phillips. And we'll be doing a sales process, run the play webinar, how to run the play the right way. It will be the title of the webinar. So we're going to be doing that. There is Zach's email address. Thanks guys. Appreciate you being here with us today. You guys are absolutely awesome. Lindsay, anything you want to say before we part?
Yeah, go take action. So take whatever you learned today, go take action. Don't stop. Get in control of your pipeline and it never ends. So I think it's really important to remember there is no destination. There is no end point. This continues going. So you might as well fall in love with the process, lean into your support system and have fun with it while you go. So Thank you, Chris, for having us. This was a great webinar, I think.
Great job today. Appreciate it, guys. And also 2.5 hours. Lindsay and I went a long time. I apologize for being a little bit long today, but it's really good content. It's very involved and we both really care. So this shows like also mimic our process. This is stuff that we do every 2 weeks. We do a live webinar and it's awesome stuff. So Lindsay, great job. It's good to have you guys today and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.